Well, the Dolphins observed a moment of silence in memory of Marlins star pitcher Jose Fernandez, who died tragically in a boating accident early this morning. The Marlins canceled their game with the Braves after Fernandez and two others were killed when their boat crashed into the rocks off Miami Beach. Jose Fernandez was only 24 years of age, and this community has been rocked in the hours since the announcement was made. Just an unbelievable story on an unbelievable kid. We've been hearing the stories of just who he was as a person. Salman, we know he was a tremendous player and a representative of the Cuban community here, which is so big in South Florida, and just devastating news, really.
When you talk to people in the lobbies of the hotels and here at the stadium and in the community, he meant so much to the community here in South Florida and to the Latino community. He's a national hero. Defected from Cuba as a teenager, brought over his mother and grandmother, and then 6 years later to become Rookie of the Year. He meant so much to so many in the NFL and everyone around the country. We honor him.
Cleveland has won the toss. They defer, and so the Dolphins will receive as they stage the grand reopening of Hard Rock Stadium. Their owner, Stephen Ross, put about $500 million of his own money into this place. You see the beautiful canopy as we came on the air, and we are just about ready to go. The touch pack will give Ryan Tannehill the football at the 25. One of the most prolific passing games of his career as he nearly brought the Dolphins back from that 31-3 deficit at New England last week.
Adam Gase said that today he just wants to allow the players to play. Put the game in the hands of Ryan Tannehill and allow him to control the game from the line of scrimmage. Expect him to push the ball down the field. Adam Gase is going to cut this offense loose, much in the same way he did in the second half of last week's game against the Patriots.
1st and 10 from the 25. This is Kenyon Drake, the rookie, third-round pick out of Alabama, making his first career start. Christian Kirksey on the tackle. Starters for Miami. Anthony Steen making his third consecutive start. Mike Pouncey still not ready to return from that left hip injury. Misses a third straight game. And Jarvis Landry, their stud wide receiver, leads that core there with 17 catches. Leads the NFL a couple of weeks into the season. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Tannehill, quick drop, quick strike, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Jamar Taylor, the former Dolphin. And what a moment for Taylor, who was drafted by Miami back in 2013, never panned out. Makes the defensive gem for Cleveland.
But he does a really good job of reading the slant here to the right side of your screen, looking, stepping right in front of his intended receiver, Kenny Stills. He's just reading Tannehill's mail. Now this it goes a long way into disrupting what the Dolphins plan to do. If you're going to put the game in the hands of your quarterback, the one thing he cannot do is turn it over in the early going of the game and put Cody Kessler on a short field to make it easy for this Cleveland Browns offense.
And so here is Kessler. A whirlwind couple of weeks it's been for that young man as the 23-year-old takes his first career NFL snap. 1st and 10 from just outside the Dolphins' 30. Play clock down to zeros. And a flag is thrown.
Play again. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And already you're seeing, Spiro, the rookie mistakes. Cody Kessler in his first career start gets a delay of game penalty. He wanted to shift, wanted to motion, but he's got to be able to speed up that process. Now, I asked Hugh Jackson, what can you do to help the rookie quarterback? I think really just lining up and playing initially, I think would go a long way to help him to get into early rhythm.
On 1st and 15 after the penalty, that is Isaiah Crowell with a run of 7 to set up a second down coming up. Offensive starters around Kessler. John Greco has to move over from his right guard position to play center today. That's because Cameron Irving is out with that bruised lung. We just saw Crowell leads the NFL with 6.5 yards per rush at 133 yards on the ground in that loss to the Ravens at home last Sunday. 2nd and 8 from the Dolphins' 32.
Hurry, hurry, go!
snap is fumbled by Kessler. And a shaky start continues. Kessler able to fall on the football, and you just can't even imagine what's going through this kid's mind here after a very ragged start.
Butterflies are swirling. Everything's happening and going 100 miles an hour. You can see the snap right there from number 77. Remember, John Greco replaces Cameron Irving, who is your normal center, but he has that pulmonary contusion, and Hugh Jackson is missing his starting center. They move the right guard, John Greco, over to the center position, so you have to imagine it had something to do with Greco as well as the young quarterback.
3rd and 9. Kessler under pressure. Sack football comes loose. Miami has it.
Cameron Wake strikes early in this ball game. You can see Cody Kessler is not used to the tempo and the timing in which the ball has to come out. And Hugh Jackson can't be happy with the decision-making or poor decision of his quarterback. And there you see Wake. He's going up against Austin Pastor. Now watch, he'll get around him, but see, watch how long Kessler pats that ball. See, that ball has to get out. Pastor can't be expected all by himself to block Cameron Wake for, say, 4 seconds. Once the quarterback hitches the ball once, then twice, Spiro, the ball has to come out. That's the clock, that's the timing for the quarterback that tells him you've got to get rid of it.
Jason Jones, the man who recovered the fumble for Miami. So Tannehill and his offense right back onto the field. 1st and 10. Running play called by Gase as Kenyon Drake picks up 3 to set up 2nd down. How about the defensive starters for Hugh Jackson and the Browns? Up front, Xavier Cooper makes the start for Carl Nassib, their stud rookie who broke his hand in their loss last week. Demario Davis coming over from the Jets in the offseason headlines the linebackers, and Tramon Williams making the start for Joe Hayden, who was a late scratch. Hayden tried to go through pregame warm-ups to test that groin injury that he tweaked in practice on Thursday, but just deemed himself unfit to play. So Williams, the longtime vet, makes the start on 2nd and 7. This is Drake again, who saw him and was a bit of a surprise, I think most people, as he continues to move that pile all the way close to the 50. And the officials say 1st down Miami. I think most people, with Arian Foster out with that groin injury, expected it to be Jay Ajayi to be the starter, but Adam Gase throwing Kenyon Drake a bone, the rookie 3rd-round pick out of Alabama.
Yeah, Gase said that he likes all the 4 running backs. I think we're going to see some of Isaiah Pead. Obviously, we're getting to see Kenyon Drake, but he likes Jay Ajayi. And Damian Williams, remember him, played last year and had considerable snaps.
On 1st and 10 from the 50, this is Drake. Inside Cleveland territory, all the way down to the 39-yard line. A pickup of 11, tackled by Demario Davis, another Miami 1st down.
Kenyon Drake out of Alabama. Now watch him. He's going to come here, stick that foot in the ground, and watch him find the hole. He'll cut it back behind Danny Shelton right there to get to the 2nd. That's got tremendous speed and explosive ability to hit a home run in the run game. He'll run around. Now watch the blocking out in front. Remember, Jarvis Landry is like a running back. Picks up a block from the tight end, Jordan Cameron, and he is a tough guy to get on the ground. When he tucks it in, you better be prepared to tackle him or he'll break one and take it to the house.
So this Cleveland defense on its heels already. Tannehill from the gun on 1st and 10. Has time, throwing end zone, it is caught! Devontae Parker for the Miami touchdown. There is a flag thrown at around the 8-yard line. It's a 26-yard touchdown catch if it stands.
Holding defense. Number 20. Penalties declined. Touchdown is good.
That was Brian Body Calhoun, the rookie corner, on the coverage, and the man penalized. Touchdown for Devontae Parker.
You can see Parker outside working against number 20. That's Bodie Calhoun. He gets inside of him. Remember, Joe Hayden out of today's game. And so that means the 3rd, 4th cornerback, Bodie Calhoun, is going to be in there, and just an easy throw for Tannehill as the bigger and taller receiver, Devontae Parker, gets in front of the defensive back for an easy touchdown catch.
90th career touchdown pass thrown by Tannehill, and the 3rd this season to get Miami on the board first. Andrew Franks, second-year kicker on, and his point after is perfect. So Miami's defense getting the football back to Tannehill. It happened like this. Cam Wake leveling Kessler. And then Devontae Parker on the touchdown catch from Tannehill. All right, so the Cameron Wake strip sack of Cody Kessler gets the football back to Ryan Tannehill, and they make quick work of that Browns defense. 26-yard touchdown strike to Devontae Parker. Andrew Franks on to boot it away. This one will go through the back of the end zone, and Zalman take us back to the touchdown pass to Parker.
I want you to see, this is going to be Tannehill's read, the safety, Derek Kendrick. And what they're going to do is bring Jarvis Landry here. Once he bites on that, on the backside, that's how they're able to get Devontae Parker behind the safety, but in front of the corner for an easy touchdown pass. So it was an excellent read by the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, going to his 6'3" tall receiver, Devontae Parker. They were able to set up the safety to bite on the underneath route, clearing a huge path for an easy touchdown toss.
So Kessler, the 3rd round pick out of USC, will try to dust himself off and try again on 1st and 10. He slings it near side of the field and finds Terrell Pryor, who makes the catch just shy of that 1st down marker. Tonight on CBS, the agents of NCIS Los Angeles start the new season on a new night. Don't miss LL Cool J and Chris O'Donnell in NCIS Los Angeles tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. Pretty good response from Kessler, as now Kessler goes to the sideline. And now Terrell Pryor. We knew that this was a very good possibility. Pryor, of course, a former quarterback collegiately and early on in his NFL career. Will take the snap from the gun on 2nd and 1. This is Pryor faking out that defense, finds the edge, 1st down run and more. And this is something you anticipated. Hugh Jackson talking about ways to aid his rookie quarterback Kessler.
Hugh Jackson does a wonderful job of building the offense around the talent and the skill set of many of the players. He knows that Terrell Pryor was a 5-star recruit at the quarterback position, where he attended collegiately at Ohio State, was drafted as a quarterback by the Raiders when he came into the league, and Hugh Jackson coached the Oakland Raiders at that present time. They're going to use his abilities to make plays in what we consider to be a wildcat offense, but the defense for the Dolphins, they don't consider this a wildcat.
So Pryor will stay on at quarterback. Takes the snap again, fakes the handoff over the middle and completes. This is the tight end, Gary Barnidge. So Hugh Jackson has found something for the moment. 15-yard run from Pryor, I should say, and now a 26-yard pass to Barnidge.
And they're going to stay with it. You see Barnidge comes across, no one covers him. And these are the same miscommunications we saw with the Dolphins defense 1 week ago at Gillette Stadium against the Patriots. You leave a Pro Bowl tight end wide open over the middle of the field, he's going to get open every time. Now, Cody Kessler's back in at quarterback.
1st and 10 from the Dolphins 25. A wild start to this game. This is Crowell, like a battering ram, getting himself close to the 20, a pickup of 6. And this is the tap dance now that we expect Hugh Jackson to play. And really an extraordinary set of circumstances as Kessler once again comes to the sideline.
You know, Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, spent the last 2 seasons in Cincinnati as the secondary coach, along with Hugh Jackson, who was the offensive coordinator. So they're very good friends. They know one another very well. He told me they expected to see Terrell Pryor in this game at quarterback. He says, look, we don't see him as a wildcat quarterback. We're going to treat him as a quarterback, and that's it.
On 2nd and 4, Pryor rolls out. He's going to throw on the run, and that pass is nearly picked. Xavier Howard, their rookie cornerback whom they took in the 2nd round, had it and just lost it. Huge break for Cleveland.
Yeah, he dropped it. This is an overthrow by Pryor. Look, throws it right over the head of his intended receiver. This ball should have been intercepted. Higgins was the intended receiver. You can see Howard had it right in his hands, put it on the ground. Now critical 3rd and 4 with Kessler back in the game.
3rd and 4. Kessler goes underneath. This is Duke Johnson Jr., the Miami native, back in his hometown. Falls incomplete. Actually dumped down for a loss of 4, I should say. And the field goal unit comes onto the field. Rashad Jones was there on the tackle.
You know, Kessler didn't take a shot in the end zone where he had a receiver there. And you could see Hugh Jackson, he said, hey, the one thing I could do to help Cody is just remain positive. Even when there's mistakes, he said, it's not going to be perfect. He said, but I have to remain positive to keep him in the ball game and help him to be able to make plays.
And here is Cody Parker, who just joined the Browns on Friday night. Misses on a 41-yard field goal. Patrick Murray hurt in their walkthrough on Friday afternoon. So Parkey, their new kicker, inauspicious start, 7-0 Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network. And by Progressive, handing off big savings to you.
Well, the Miami Dolphins and their owner Stephen Ross have been waiting for this day, the grand reopening of a modernized Hard Rock Stadium. Finally get to their home opener here in week 3. You see that state-of-the-art canopy. This is what it used to look like from the top, and now this gigantic canopy that will keep about 90% of the spectators in the shade here and covered from the rain. It certainly has the look and feel of a different place here as we walked in this morning.
It feels much cooler in this stadium, to be honest with you. As you know, this weekend the sun has come out and it's been an intense heat here in South Florida this weekend, but the fans are resting here comfortably, enjoying today's game.
Already a couple of turnovers, one by each team, and Miami up 7-0 as Tannehill completes to Jordan Cameron. And it's just going to be so fascinating, Solomon, to see the influence that Adam Gase will have on Ryan Tannehill as this season goes on.
Well, I think you can see him right now. He is running the offense. There it is, Adam Gase sending in the play to Ryan Tannehill. He can hear it, but once he gets to the line of scrimmage, he's going to read the defense, and he can check out of that play into another play and run pretty much his own offense.
Tannehill with the handoff to Ajayi on 2nd and 5. Ajayi getting to about the 40, a pickup of 4. Jamie Meter on the tackle. And we spent some time with Tannehill on Friday, and he said this is the first time that there's really been a give and take where I've been able to elaborate and put my kind of opinion on what the game plan is each and every week.
Yeah, in the past under Joe Philbin, remember Tannehill, he had to stick with the play that was called. He didn't have the option to be able to check out of it based on what the defense has given him. And, you know, everywhere Adam Gase has been, whether it's with Peyton Manning or with Jay Cutler, he's given his quarterback the ability to make the changes.
On 3rd and 1, Ajayi needed the 41. This will be close. We'll see where the officials spot the football. Demario Davis is there on the tackle. No official signal just yet. And now the official signal, first down, Miami.
You can see right now he's running the offense. He's going to read the defense, count the numbers in the box. If it's advantageous, they'll run it. If they crowd the line of scrimmage, he'll check to a pass play.
1st and 10. This is Ajayi again. And this is where, Solomon, they had the success last week. They were down at New England 31-3. And then in the second half, they sped things up. Tannehill went with the no huddle, and they were a completely different offense.
They were able to get in better rhythm. They sort of found themselves. You know, this is a new coaching system. It's a new offensive system as well. And so it's taken them some time to kind of find themselves within the offense. And I think they found it in the second half of that game. Let's see if it can carry over here today.
Tannehill in the second half last Sunday, 22 of 27 for 273 and a couple of touchdowns as Miami nearly came all the way back. Little end-around play. Landry with the football. Taps dances his way close to the 45. We send you to New York and an update with JB and Tony.
All right, Carolina moving strong.
Yes, and a big reason is this man right here. Cam Newton fakes the handoff for the 3-yard touchdown. That caps a 7-play, 57-yard drive. Carolina up early, 10-0.
Well, they are tough at home, 14 straight, trying to add to it. Back to Spiro and Solomon.
All right, guys, wild scene in Charlotte, of course, with all the protests there that have been taking place downtown. Good start for the Panthers. Here's Tannehill from the gun on 3rd and 7. Browns coming. Dolphins pick it up, and the pass intended for Landry is incomplete.
Landry appeared to be open on the play. Watch, he's going to turn out away from Demario Davis. The ball has to be right on him. See, it's overthrown, thrown outside the framework of the body of Jarvis Landry. And that's where Tannehill really does have to improve in terms of his overall accuracy when he's throwing the ball down the field. You have to be able to hit that receiver coming out of the break, and Landry's going to make a play for you, and you have yourself a first down.
Here is Matt Darr, one of the top rookie punters a year ago in the NFL. Tramon Williams back deep at around his own 10. Williams signaling fair catch. Cleveland will have it right around their own 15-yard line when we come back to Miami on CBS. So your weekend starts on Thursday when the Miami Dolphins take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. So a short week coming up for the Dolphins. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, rest of our CBS crew. Terrell Pryor, who's already taken a couple of snaps at quarterback, will do the same here. As Hugh Jackson just trying to get his offense comfortable with his rookie quarterback Cody Kessler on the sideline. 1st and 10 from just inside the 15. Pryor fakes the handoff. He's going to try to find the edge and brought down by Rashad Jones, one of the best run-stopping safeties in the NFL. What about Cody Kessler, the 23-year-old making his rookie debut? We met with him last night, as composed as any 23-year-old you've ever met. But Salma, nothing can compare you for that first NFL game.
No, the speed of the game and understanding the ball's got to come out of your hands like holding on to a loaded hand grenade. They're going to hit you, and that's why you have quarterbacks ahead of him. Josh McCown out. He's injured. Robert Griffin III, he's out. He's injured. So you get Cody Kessler. He's the 3rd quarterback, and he's taken a beating so far today.
On 2nd and 11. Cleveland keeps it on the ground again. Duke Johnson crosses the 25 and a first down run close to the 30, a pickup of 14 yards. And we saw Kessler hobble to the sideline a couple of times. You have to wonder how he's feeling physically.
Well, this is what you have to really see there. Look at that. Just good vision. They have to be able to rely on the running game. And if you are going to manufacture yards with a 3rd-string quarterback and a young rookie like Cody Kessler, you have to be effective running the ball today.
1st and 10 from around the 27. This is Johnson again, the Miami product. Started Miami Norland High School, not far from where we are here. All-time leading rusher collegiately at the University of Miami. And trying to make this a happy homecoming, playing in front of family and friends.
Well, they have something dynamic, I think, with their 2 running backs. Isaiah Crowell, he's built for power, and Hugh Jackson's offense. And Duke Johnson, an excellent receiver coming out of the backfield. He gives you more quickness on the perimeter. So, to me, when you see Crowell in there, know you're going to get power running game coming straight at you.
2nd and 6. Browns trying to pick up the blitz. Kessler's pass right on the throw was hit. Trying to find Pryor down the sideline, and Kessler continues to take a beating.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 93. A low hit on the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Ndamukong Suh penalized, and an automatic first down for Cleveland.
Suh was trying to get to Kessler. You're going to see him coming in. He'll be right here. And you'll see him come in late. Oh, he called the wrong number. It was actually number 53, Jelani Jenkins. And look at the missed block right there by Crowell. But see, he was already on the ground. He was just kind of trying to get to the quarterback. It certainly disrupted the throw by Cody Kessler.
Well, it is not safe to be a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns these days. Kessler trying to stay in one piece at the moment. End around play. This is Andrew Hawkins, the young speedy wide receiver. As Miami's defense was not fooled, it'll be 2nd down coming up.
You know, they called Ndamukong Suh, and he was nowhere near the quarterback. it's almost the reputation of Ndamukong has been much maligned, and I think falsely so. He's been playing really well here for the Dolphins so far this season.
On 2nd and 9, that is Duke Johnson, who is rolled up behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of a yard as Mario Williams leading a host of tacklers for Miami, and Johnson is still down. It looked like his legs got caught underneath him on that play as the Cleveland trainers, who have been awfully busy this week, come onto the field. Grand reopening of Hard Rock Stadium, 7-0 Miami. There's Duke Johnson able to walk off on his own power as they continue to take a look. And now what do they do here on 3rd and 10 in what has been an awfully shaky start for their offense? Cody Kessler, the 23-year-old rookie, from the gun, throws over the middle and finds Pryor. 19 yards and a Cleveland first down inside Miami territory.
How about this? Terrell Pryor at the bottom of the screen working against Byron Maxwell, who's struggling from off coverage. He's used to playing that press man-to-man, but from off doesn't do a good job of reading, doesn't redirect Pryor, allows him on that inside position, which creates an easy throw for Cody Kessler. Right now, Terrell Pryor is the best player on offense for these Cleveland Browns.
Pryor, who made the conversion from quarterback to receiver last season, once again takes the snap on 1st and 10. This is Isaiah Crowell inside the 35 and close to the 33-yard line. As that takes us to the end of the first quarter, Miami in front of Cleveland 7-0. We'll return to South Florida after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, it's not often that your most seasoned quarterback also happens to be your #1 receiver. That's exactly the case for Cleveland.
Well, right now he's the leading passer, he's the leading rusher, and he's also the leading receiver in this game for the Cleveland Browns. And so Hugh Jackson tailoring the offense around the talents of Terrell Pryor as he converts on 3rd and 11 to create a first down. He's making all the plays, whether it's throwing the ball, whether it's rushing it, or catching it down the field.
We know Charlie Whitehurst is also available today. He is their official #2 quarterback, but you can't expect much from him. He was just brought in around Tuesday of this week. Still trying to catch up with the playbook. As Rashad Jones blowing up Crowell on 2nd down for a loss of 3. This guy has been dynamite for Miami.
He is a phenomenal player. Look at him. He lines up here. They don't account for him. They don't block him. And he's able to knife in and tear up Isaiah Crowell. This team is playing some young wide receivers. Okay, some rookies. Ricardo Lewis, Jordan Payton, Rashad Higgins. They've got to be able to block. They've got to be able to make some plays for their quarterback, Cody Kessler.
3rd and 9. Kessler's pass over the middle, thrown low. It is caught. That's Barnage, the tight end, had the catch earlier from Pryor. A pickup of 8, very close to the first down marker, but appears to be about a yard short.
Looked like he could have caught it and rolled forward. I don't know if they touched him down initially. Right there. Oh, no, Kiko Alonso did touch him. But he did fall short. That was a great catch. Is he able to pull it in from the body? I think the catch is good. As he corrals it, you can see Kiko Alonso did touch him just short of that first down marker.
This will be a 46-yard attempt for Cody Parkey, who missed earlier from 41. Again, Parkey, if you've just joined us, signed on Friday. He did not join the team until late Friday night, and he bangs this one in by the skin of his teeth to get the Browns on the board. So Cleveland's drive stalls, but finally able to get on the board. 7-3 on CBS. Browns scoring drive, 10 plays, 58 yards. Shoot up just over 5 minutes of clock. 46-yard field goal by Cody Parkey, and seems like everything they're doing offensively, Solomon, built around Terrell Pryor.
They're built around his talents to run it, throw it, and catch it down the field.
Jakeem Grant will signal for the fair catch. 7-3 Miami on CBS. Week 3 continues later today on CBS, and for some of you on Fox. And tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tomorrow, Monday Night Football on ESPN, Atlanta and New Orleans. There's Hugh Jackson, who had to wait 5 years to get another chance at becoming an NFL head coach, and he has had a lot of bad luck, but just trying to grit his teeth, Solomon, and coach his way through it.
Yeah, all those quarterbacks. You can see RG3 there along with the offense coordinator, Pep Hamilton. Charlie Whitehurst, number 15. They picked him up this week, as Hugh Jackson is explaining, and coaching up Cody Kessler to try to get him going within the offense. They're going to need more than Terrell Pryor if they're going to put significant points on the board against this Miami Dolphins defense today.
So here's Tannehill. 2 of his first 4, 31 yards, already a touchdown and an interception. This time finds Landry, who is brought down at around the 30. Such a tough start to Miami's schedule, and for Adam Gase, how about starting your NFL head coaching career against 2 teams that are expected to fight for the Super Bowl in Seattle and New England, and we're really a couple of plays away from winning in both of those games.
See communication from Tannehill. So they're going no huddle, but not necessarily up tempo here.
2nd and 6. This is Drake, the rookie, making his first NFL start, and run out of bounds after a pickup of 3. Update time, JB and Tony.
Safe to say a must-win for Buffalo.
Yes, they are coming into this game 0-2. Don't want to go 0-3. New offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn getting it done on the ground. LaShawn McCoy, 24 yards right there. 100 rushing yards so far in this game. Baltimore is up. Buffalo is up 10-0.
All right, Spiro, Mrs. Wilcox, you know I do call her son Solomon now, right?
That's right. We passed that information along, JB. You're in good standing.
Little movement pre-snap looked to be on the right side of Miami's line.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Brandon Albert, one of their vets. And stud on the left side of the line. That'll make this 3rd down a little bit tougher.
Yeah, and it's quiet here, but you can see both tackles actually move. They could have picked either he or Jawan James at the right tackle position because they both jumped, even though they called it on Brandon Albert.
So 3rd and 8 after the penalty, as they mark it just outside the 27. Landry in motion, bottom of your picture. Tannehill has time. It's caught. It's Devontae Parker, a pickup of only 2. Dolphins needed the 35, and they are well short as the punter Matt Darr back onto the field.
Tannehill wanted to push the ball down the field, but they had it well covered, well defended. As you can see, he's talking to his running back, Damian Williams. We felt like he wanted to go to him, but they were covering Williams. He had to check it down to Devontae Parker.
So Cleveland's defense has settled down after that tough start. Keep in mind, this is a secondary playing without their Pro Bowl cornerback Joe Hayden, who was a late scratch today with that groin injury. Their catch signaled by Tramon Williams, and Cleveland will take over. 55 yards in the punt by Darr on CBS. Oh, so many iconic names between these 2 franchises over the years. And speaking of legendary, Jim Brown, Bob Greasy, our good buddy Dan Marino, and Ernie Kosar in the house here in Miami. This is Isaiah Crowell, close to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 9, tackled by Koamisi. Jordan Cameron, we have just been told, is being evaluated for a concussion. We'll try to get you an update as quickly as we can.
Right now, you got to like the way the Cleveland Browns are able to move the ball on the ground. They're already over 50 yards rushing against this Miami Dolphins defense, and they can add some kind of balance to the offense for Cody Kessler.
Kessler on 2nd and 1. On the ground to Crowell again. Finds the edge. Crosses the 30, a pickup of 8. Tackled by Kiko Alonso, but not before he picks up first down yardage.
And watch the fullback. This is going to be right there. That's Malcolm Johnson. Watch, they're able to seal the edge. That left side of the offensive line behind Joe Thomas and Joe Patonio, they're able to get Crowell around the edge and to the 2nd level, and starting to churn out yards in the run game. Makes it very easy for the rookie quarterback.
Crowell had that monster game in the loss to the Ravens last week. 133 yards, had that 85-yard touchdown run, which was the second longest in franchise history. Kessler from the gun, quick strike on 1st and 10, completes to Hawkins. A minimal pickup to set up 2nd down. TV's #1 comedy is bigger than ever, and this week's show has something so top secret, all we can say is, well, it's big. Catch a new Big Bang Theory tomorrow, 8/7 Central, only CBS. Salmon, what have you seen from Kessler after that shaky start?
Well, he's starting to, I think, get into a rhythm. He's 5 for 5 throwing the ball so far today. It tells you he's seeing it well and throwing it accurately.
On 2nd and 5, Crowell unable to get back to the line of scrimmage. Just a whirlwind for Kessler. 15 days after he was inactive week 1, #2 quarterback last week, and suddenly thrust into a starting role here in week 3.
But many of these throws have been of the check down, easy kind of reads, an easy throw variety, just to get him into rhythm. As you take a look at Josh McCown and Robert Griffin III, they're sitting back and watching the rookie quarterback. But let's see if they allow him to throw the ball down the field, Spiro.
Kessler on 3rd and 5. Pocket collapses, going to throw it out of bounds. Wise decision by the rookie. It was Cameron Wake giving chase. Everyone was covered down the field.
I thought Cody Kessler showed really good poise. He hung in there in the pocket. He moved around. But look, receivers to the right side, they're locked down in their cover. Receivers to the left side. We talked about the rookies that are going to play today. Hawkins in the slot. Neither guy is open. They have to throw it out of bounds. But Kessler was able to buy a little more time than save himself by simply throwing it out of bounds and not forcing it into coverage.
First official incompletion from Kessler today. Now 5 of his first 6. This is Britton Colquitt on to punt. And back deep is Jakeem Grant. And he will watch this one sail out of bounds right around the Miami 15-yard line. 7-3 Dolphins. As someone loses a shoe, stay with us on CBS. Earlier this week, in honor of Play 60 Month, the Dolphins hosted Dolphins Blitz, which is a school takeover, including a junior training camp and Finn's Frenzy with current and alumni players at Meadow Lane Elementary in Hialeah. NFL Play 60, the NFL's movement for a more active generation, encourages fans to get moving and play for 60 minutes every day. Learn how you can join the NFL Play 60 movement at NFL.com/Play60. There is Ray Horton coming back to Cleveland after his stint in Tennessee, and without some key players today, his unit is playing awfully well.
I think they're doing a good job of keeping this offense for the Dolphins hemmed in their home opener. We expected fireworks from Ryan Tannehill, but we haven't seen many.
This is Isaiah Peed, the 4th-year running back and Columbus, Ohio native, taking on his hometown team. Well, how about some of the injured players defensively? We know about Carl Nassib, the rookie, who they're very high on, and Joe Hayden saw him in a late scratch.
Yeah, half of their starting secondary with the safety Ibrahim Campbell out, Joe Hayden also out, and Carl Nassib, arguably their best pass rusher out of today's game.
Nassib suffering a broken hand in that home loss to the Ravens last Sunday. Had surgery on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll get him back as quickly as they can. And Salmon, you've been around this league a long time. I'm not sure any of us have ever seen a week like the Cleveland Browns had this week.
Yeah, you lose Joe Hayden just yesterday. Last night we spoke to him. He thought he would play. But they're making good with the players that are in there. And I think you should commend what Ray Horton is doing right now, keeping this offense hemmed in to see if they can keep this offense from converting on this 3rd down play.
Meantime, can Adam Gase and this offense get going? After the early fireworks, right now they just seem to be stuck in mud.
Yeah, a lot of movement.
Tannehill on 3rd and 3. Here comes Cleveland. That pass is intercepted. Brian Body Calhoun, and he is still going. He will waltz into the end zone for the pick 6.
This was very confusing for Ryan Tannehill. His 2nd interception of the game. Now take a look at this. Look how many guys are standing up on the line of scrimmage. So what happens is you can't set your protection. They don't know who's coming, who isn't. And so look, he gets hit as he's throwing the ball. It sails over the head of the intended receiver, Landry, and then you see it's intercepted, return for a touchdown. Complete confusion, and that's what we were alluding to with the job that the defensive coordinator, Ray Horton, is doing with really a bunch of non-starters and makeshift members on defense, confusing Ryan Tannehill and forcing critical errors.
So Brian Body Calhoun, acquired off waivers from Jacksonville after the Jaguars took him undrafted as a rookie free agent a few months ago. 27 yards on a pick six, and the Cleveland Browns shorthanded move in front for the first time. Well, the art scene very vibrant in this grand reopening of Hard Rock Stadium, home opener for the Dolphins, and so far it has not gone according to plan. After Cleveland had the early jitters, right now Tannehill trying to pick up the pieces after his second pick of the day.
Two here in the first half. He's completely confused by who's coming and who isn't, because the entire defensive line is standing up and he can't set his protection.
So Body Calhoun on the 27-yard pick six. Solomon, what have you seen?
Well, I just see someone who's trying to force the ball into the intended receiver. I see a lot of guessing and uncertainty as they are starting to get hits on him, forcing the errant pass, but he wasn't sure where he wanted to go with that throw to begin with. But he's being hit, knocked around, and confused at the line of scrimmage. They said they wanted to put more on Ryan Tannehill, allow him to control the game at the line of scrimmage. Well, he's playing a chess match with the Browns defensive coordinator, Ray Horton.
So Tannehill now 4 picks that he has thrown in the last 2 games. So Miami now down for the first time. Tannehill trying to make something out of nothing on first down. Nate Orchard on the tackle for Cleveland. We'll get the CBS Sports app for inside access to breaking news and expert analysis of your favorite team. It has everything you need. Download the CBS Sports app today.
No energy in this Miami Dolphins offense.
This place is eerily quiet. On 2nd and 8. Tannehill slinging it. Solomon, you expect the crowd to quiet down when the offense has the football, but this place right now just doesn't have much juice. As Cleveland has answered, and Tannehill finally able to move the chains.
See, they're going no huddle, but they're moving really slow. Tannehill's trying to read the defense because he's calling the plays at the line of scrimmage. He's setting his protection.
This is 1st and 10. Kenyon Drake, 3rd-round pick out of Alabama, getting his first career start with no Arian Foster today. Tackled by Body Calhoun, who's feeling good about himself after his first career pick.
Yeah, you can see right there they went real quick snap and tried to get something going in the run game.
Here's Arian Foster, groin injury that he sustained in the loss against New England. This is Tannehill, has time, will go underneath to Drake. That's the initial guy missed. Drake going for that first down marker right at the 50. Appears to be about a yard short. Good effort by Drake. A pickup of 6, tackled by Shelton and Jamar Taylor.
And from a tempo and rhythm perspective, I thought that play looked better as Tannehill got the ball out of his hands quicker. You have to understand, with the talent of Kenyon Drake, get him the ball early where he can operate in space to make a defender miss. You can see now he's taking his time trying to set the offense, set the formation, trying to get a bead on whether to run it. He's going to throw it against this defensive look.
Tannehill takes the low snap on 1st and 10. Throws over the middle, and it is caught. That's Kenny Stills with a first down catch. 18 yards inside Browns territory.
Much better read of the defense by Tannehill. Looked to his left, came clear back to his right. He wanted to go to Landry over the middle, who had slipped and fell down, and then he found Stills to the right side. Now watch, you see right there, see over the middle of the field, there's Landry. He went down, he came off Landry and then found Stills. So you can see in the progression, Tannehill is operating at a much better pace right now.
Tannehill now 7 of 10 as he tries to get this offense back into the end zone. First and 10 from the 32. This is Damian Williams for the first time. He finds the edge. Up the sideline, run out of bounds inside the 20. 14 more yards and another first down.
Now, if you allow the Dolphins to get something going in their running game, as they came here really struggling in the run game, ranked 27th in the National Football League, but they could get this out of their committee of running backs, it really is going to go a long way to helping Ryan Tannehill to manage this offense. They can play faster, they can go up tempo and really get the defense back on their heels and off balance.
See the rushing numbers for Miami. An area where they have really struggled. Tannehill taking a shot into the end zone, trying to find Landry, but it falls incomplete. And that playbook starts to get a little bit shorter now, Solomon, as they work in the red zone.
I think it was a good throw. You can see over on the left side of the field, Tracy Howard's number 41. He's on top of Jarvis Landry. And that's what Tannehill was reading, so he's going to go for the back shoulder fade. Anytime the defensive back is stacked on top of the receiver has to anticipate the ball coming underneath.
Whistles will blow that play dead.
False start. Offense number 80. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
There's Adam Gase, rookie head coach, after working wonders in Chicago last season with Jay Cutler, and of course his historically good run in Denver with Peyton Manning.
He's done wonders with quarterbacks. I think you have to be a little bit patient. They're 4 months, into this offense when you consider OTAs, minicamp, and training camp. And so it's going to take some time for everyone to get on the same page. But it started to click for them in the second half last week, and they expected to see the same here today.
Tannehill on 2nd and 15. Awkward looking throw. It's caught by Williams, but he is going backwards. That play just looked awful right from the throw. A loss of 8. Emmanuel Agba, a second-round pick out of Oklahoma State, on the tackle.
Poor execution is what it is. You can see there's Williams in the backfield. Now he's got to get out and separate to give a lane to Tannehill to complete what was considered to be a screen pass. And then for him to bring it all the way back across the field was simply not how that play is designed by Adam Gase.
This offense sloppy again. Second straight week. They had the 4 turnovers against New England last Sunday. Already 2 turnovers in this game. And right now forced to burn a timeout. Down 3 late first half. Critical play coming up for Ryan Tannehill and this Miami offense right now down 3. What do you do here if you're Adam Gase?
I think you try to isolate, as you did in the first quarter with Devontae Parker. They got him matched up against an inexperienced cornerback and took a shot into the end zone. I think providing you get the look you want from this defense. Remember, 2 starters are missing from this Cleveland Browns secondary. You expect the protection to hold up. And if you can get the matchup you want, then you have to take a shot down the football field and try to get big-time points here.
Kenyon Drake, their rookie running back, lines up bottom of your picture. Split out here on 3rd and 24. Tannehill throws over the middle. It's caught. It's Deion Sims, the 4th-year tight end. A pickup of a dozen, so we'll get into much more favorable field goal kicking range for Andrew Franks.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry streaking right down the middle of the field. It was well covered, but that's what opened up the area underneath for the big tight end, Deion Sims, to catch the ball and get it inside the 20-yard line.
Well, before Franks will kick, 2-minute warning in Miami in a 10-7 Cleveland lead. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and the fellas standing by in New York. They'll get you caught up on all the scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football coming up on NFL Network. All next on the Verizon halftime report. 37-yard attempt by Andrew Franks. And this game is tied. But right now, Adam Gase thinking about how he can jumpstart an offense that just appears to be lethargic at this point, Solomon. They had that great second half in the loss in New England last week. You thought that would probably carry over, but just hasn't until this point.
No, it hasn't, because this offense has been lethargic. What did Ryan Tannehill told us? We expect to have what we call ludicrous speed. They have one word that tells everyone what to do, so it's not a lot of verbiage within this offense. We haven't seen ludicrous speed. We haven't even seen them throw it in another gear. This offense has been lethargic. It's been very slow. I think the progression and the reads of the quarterback, it starts with Tannehill. He's got to be able to have the energy and infuse everyone in the huddle with that same energy and be able to read accurately and get the ball out of his hands to get this offense going today.
The ludicrous speed and the Spaceballs reference just made me very happy when Ryan Tannehill told us about his offense and speeding things up. But certainly a lot to talk about for them during that halftime locker room. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots. Nice to have our producer, Ryan Galvin, back with us after his little stint on the disabled list. And, of course, our director, Andy Goldberg, rest of our great CBS crew from Hard Rock Stadium here in Miami. Tracy Howard will take a knee, and they'll have it at the 25. How about the wisdom of Solomon here in Week 3?
My observations entering Week 3, the Raiders have allowed 500 yards total offense in back-to-back games for the first time in franchise history. So much for that improvement. And Carson Wentz has become the first rookie quarterback since the merger in 1970 to win his first 2 games and throwing no interceptions. And how about Trevor Siemian? 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, but the Broncos are averaging more points per game and converting a higher percentage of their third downs than any point during last year when they won a Super Bowl. So the NFL is very interesting, to say the least.
Wild start to the season without a doubt. This is Duke Johnson, the Miami kid, with a sprint out to the 40, pickup of 17 yards. As now we see Kessler try to run a 2-minute offense.
Yeah, Kessler is going to run the 2-minute offense, something he has to be able to do. Remember, he played at USC in a pro-style system, so he has a great foundation for understanding NFL offense.
Kessler on 1st and 10, under duress again. Will throw on the run, and he completes. What a play by Kessler, able to locate Pryor right along the sideline and right at that first down marker. First down, Cleveland.
And this is why Hugh Jackson, as you take a look, both feet, that was close. It's like 1 foot was down. He had them both down until the ball arrived, but, you know, Kessler is beginning to come on.
Kessler now 6 of 7. Running play called here by Jackson. As Duke Johnson will pick up about 3 here. Cleveland with all 3 timeouts remaining. And they will take one here with $1:18 remaining. And Kessler now a chance to catch his breath. Another reminder, Verizon Halftime Report coming up next. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cowher standing by in New York. It's your preview Thursday Night Football coming up on NFL Network. All to come on the Verizon Halftime Report. Hugh Jackson, Solomon, has to be pleased with his rookie since that shaky start.
Let's see how pleased he really is with him, because when you allow Kessler to push the ball down the field, I think this is a good opportunity. You're in plus territory. It's 2nd and 7. This is usually when you take a shot down the field. Hugh Jackson is known to be a very aggressive and creative play caller, using his talent in terms of the receiver and quarterback to get the ball down the field. You see he's yelling to Cody, hurry up, catch the defense off balance and get the ball snapped.
You saw Cody Parkey, their newly signed kicker, warming up on the sideline. 2nd and 7. Kessler letting her rip far side. He's got Pryor again. All the way down to the Miami 20. 25 yards and another first down.
Did I tell you they push it down the field there? This is the perfect spot on the field where you try to go deep. Now, with the cornerback stacked on top, so you go underneath on the throw. It was great anticipation, and Kessler read the coverage of the defensive back. If you stacked on top of Terrell Pryor, why throw it over the top? Allow him to use that big frame that he has and throw it underneath, and he can make the catch and still create a big play.
The transformation of this kid from a quarterback to not only a receiver, but a #1 receiver on an NFL team in the span of a year, Solomon, has been nothing short of remarkable.
Remember, Al Saunders is the wide receiver coach here with the Cleveland Browns. By far one of the best receiving coaches in the NFL. 37 years of experience. He's coached a lot of great players, and now using that knowledge and transferring it to the talents of Terrell Pryor.
1st and 10. Appeared to be some movement pre-snap right side of the Cleveland offense.
False start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's Austin Pastor, their 4th-year right tackle.
Austin Pastor, 67. You know, it's not that noisy. Now he's going on the silent count. Remember, you're 2 bodies removed from the center, and you can't look in to see if the ball is snapped. You're looking out to who you have to block, and it's all about anticipation for these tackles. I think it's a very difficult position to play, sensing when the ball is going to be snapped.
After the penalty, 1st and 15 from the 25. Kessler again sees the pressure coming and just throws this one into the end zone. Pryor, the closest receiver to him. So 65 seconds to play, and the Browns down to their final timeout.
Yeah, you know, he understood that, look, Pryor's going to be here, but look at the pressure coming. He's going to be open, but he throws it over the top as opposed to underneath. And you can see he was open. If he would have delivered a shot underneath to Pryor, he's going to beat Byron Maxwell on that play, but Kessler threw it over the top instead.
If you've just joined us, Kessler 7 of 9, 71 yards, and a couple of fumbles early, one of which he recovered. So far, Pryor has been his favorite target with those 4 catches. Here he is throwing end zone, and it is batted down by Byron Maxwell. Excellent recovery as Kessler looking almost exclusively to Pryor at this point.
This is where Byron Maxwell is at his best, is impressed top-down man-to-man cover. See, he stays stacked. He's able to push Pryor nearly out of bounds, is able to shrink the space that Pryor has to operate. Just a really great play by Byron Maxwell.
Where does Hugh want to go here on 3rd and 15?
I think you have to go elsewhere. They've tried Pryor significantly. I think you've got to allow Andrew Hawkins to make a play for you. I think you got to allow one of these young rookie receivers to make a play. And you can see Duke Johnson, if you get him matched up against a safety or a linebacker, get it to him as well.
3rd and 15. Kessler under pressure, and he is brought down right at the 20. You see a marker come in behind the play. Jason Jones able to wrap him up. It is officially a pickup of 5. But this one could be coming back.
Yeah, if it's a holding call, this is the worst case scenario other than a sack or a turnover.
Holding. Offense. Number 67. 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
So the second penalty on this possession against Pastor.
Austin Pastor, yep, at the top of your screen gets Cameron Wake. Talk to the defense coordinator, Vance Joseph. You know, Wake, they're limiting his number of snaps, trying to keep him fresh. He's the DPR, designated pass rusher. I think it's really good usage of the talent. There's Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator, facing a big play. You know, he wants to come after Cody Kessler, but Kessler has shown good poise under pressure today.
3rd and 25 for Kessler. Goes underneath. This is Johnson. It's close to the 30, a pickup of 5. That'll get their kicker Cody Parkey a little bit closer. Bobby McCain on the tackle. And once again, Kessler took a hard hit, as now Miami will burn a timeout.
I told you, Hugh Jackson and the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, Vance Joseph, they have a great relationship. But look, he said, yeah, I know they're going to come after my young quarterback. Cody knows they're going to come after him. We all know they're going to come after him. We're going to find out how tough he is. Right now, Cody Kessler is hanging in there.
So here is Cody Parkey. We told you about the injury sustained by their usual kicker, Patrick Murray, who was hurt in their walkthrough on Friday. That's the kind of week. You know you're having a rough week when the kicker gets hurt in the walkthrough. So Parkey was signed on Friday. Flew into Cleveland late Friday night. He's already missed one and made one. It was good from 46. This attempt from 48. Plenty of leg, and he is good. So the Browns retake the lead again with under a minute to play in the second quarter.
I got to tell you, Hugh Jackson is doing one well of a job of coaching his team here on the road in Miami. With a backup kicker, third-string quarterback. He loses his talented first-round pickup receiver, Corey Coleman. He's just finding a way to get it done. Even without his Pro Bowl cornerback Joe Hayden, they've got 2 interceptions off of Ryan Tannehill. This is coaching at its finest in the NFL.
Well, Hugh Jackson, one of the most respected coaches certainly in the NFL, the 50-year-old Los Angeles native. Such a marvelous run next to Marvin Lewis as their offensive coordinator in Cincinnati the last couple of years. And everyone kind of knew around the league he'd get his chance, and here he is trying to coach his way through some incredible adversity they've had the last couple of weeks.
As you well know, when we're calling games, we're meeting with the teams. We are, you know, we're impartial. And I said to Hugh Jackson, all right, coach, you know, as he was leaving the meeting, coach, give him a fight. He looked at me and said, we're not going to give him a fight. We're going out to win.
He was very stern with that.
You saw
retort.
that competitive look that you see right now. That's kind of the look he gave me.
He is as feisty a coach as there is in the NFL. And right now his team has taken on his personality, playing through some extraordinary circumstances against the Dolphins team playing their home opener. And the reopening of this stadium here in South Florida.
Oh, Ryan Tannehill's got to get it figured out, because right now Ray Horton, the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns, he's winning the chess match. He has Ryan Tannehill a little bit confused at the line of scrimmage. That's why there's a little delay in the processing of getting the offense set at the line of scrimmage, getting the ball snapped, and coming off the ball with great enthusiasm and energy.
Miami down to their final timeout. We'll see if they take a couple of shots down the field here. We'll just wave the white flag. Tannehill goes through his progressions. Underneath it is caught. It's Kenyon Drake, the rookie running back, short of the 30. And now Gase will burn his final timeout. Solomon, would you like to see them take some shots down the field, or they just pick up the pieces and regroup in the locker room?
Certainly, I think that's why they use the timeout. Usually when you get that first play that kind of gets it going, I think you've got to figure out, okay, how do we get some energy within the offense? And right now, I think they're trying to get the offense set, make sure they have the right personnel to get down the field as well. They don't have real burners at the wide receiver position with the Miami Dolphins. As talented as they are, they don't have the great speed merchant among this group. And so they have to manufacture the ability to get the receivers deep and down the field by getting the coverage to bite up.
Cleveland will have the football to start the second half as Tannehill throws a dart, and it is caught by Kenny Stills right at the 45-yard line. Dolphins can't stop the clock. Pickup of 16 yards and a first down. Tannehill will spike it, and that'll stop the clock with 21 seconds left.
But you can see they were able to manufacture by alignment and the route combination. They were able to get Stills open down to the 45-yard line, and so they're trying to dial up another play against a similar look, maybe to the other side of the field, that allow them to be able to push the ball and get it into field goal range.
Tannehill, pass is deflected by Agba. Got his big mitts on it. Well, they're excited about this kid, second-round pick out of Oklahoma State, two-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12 Conference.
Good player. Remember, they're without Carl Nassib, and so the young Emmanuel Agba, look, he sees it. He senses it. He jumps and gets right in that passing lane. He aborted the pass rush just to stay in that passing lane where he can knock down the pass from Tannehill.
Andrew Franks' career-long field goal, a 53-yarder in October of last season. The Dolphins have a ways to go to get him in the range. On 3rd and 10, Tannehill finds his man. That's Landry. Right around the 50, late marker thrown in the Cleveland secondary, far side of the field. It's a 5-yard play if it stands.
Seemed to be out where the receivers were operating in coverage in the secondary.
Our referee is Cleet Blakeman.
Illegal contact, defense, number 58. Penalties 5 yards from the previous spot. First down, Miami.
That's the linebacker Christian Kirksey penalized.
There you're going to see Kirksey right there. Now watch him. He's going to jam the receiver downfield right there beyond 5 yards. That's an illegal touch of the receiver. You only can jam him within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage when they're running a pass route.
And Kirksey has been graded out as one of the top coverage linebackers in the NFL by Pro Football Focus, but he was called for the penalty there. 1st and 10. Tannehill from the shotgun. Up the far side of the field, and it is incomplete. Intended for Devontae Parker.
Cleveland Browns defense smartly and rightly so, with only 5 seconds left. It was 10 seconds when they ran this play. They know the receivers are going to have an out-breaking route because you got to catch it and still get out of bounds to stop the clock, when you consider that the Dolphins are out of timeouts. And so they were playing to the situation. Just well coached. Jamar Taylor in great position now. Not enough time in my mind to be able to catch it, get out of bounds, or even get up to it and spike it to stop the clock to present a field goal opportunity.
Hugh Jackson has 4 defensive backs way down in front of his own end zone as Tannehill goes underneath to Stills, but the Dolphins are going to run out of clock. Officially a 28-yard pass play as the Cleveland Browns showing some grit. Up 3 as we reach halftime in Miami. We'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back with you in Miami, where we are just about ready for the second half, and the Cleveland Browns, surprise, surprise, all their injuries and adversity, right now up 13-10 at halftime. Let's take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV, one that Ryan Tannehill would like to have back. Picked off by Brian Body Calhoun, the rookie, with his first career pick. Runs it back 27 yards. Biggest play, without a doubt, of that first half. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Miami. We remind you that September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. All of us at CBS are partnering with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to bring awareness to this wonderful cause. We have our ties and pins, and once again, I think you look fabulous.
All right, thank you. You clean up well yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the first half, Sam. In Miami, all the talk about this revamped offense led by Adam Gase, their rookie head coach, but kind of reverted back to some of the struggles they had before the second half last week.
Yes, they are struggling. There's no doubt against Ray Horton's defense. And Tannehill threw an interception on his very first possession of the game. Kenyon Drake is not able to give them balance in terms of the running game. And Jarvis Landry came in as the league's leading receiver with more receptions than anyone, but only has 1 reception in the first half of this ball game. So right now, Ray Horton's defense, they're putting a lock on the talented players in this Miami Dolphins offense, including their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
And on the flip side of things, you couldn't have expected much from the Browns. 23-year-old rookie quarterback making his first career start. There's Cody Kessler. And boy, they got off to a really rough start. Kessler was hit hard early, a couple of fumbles, one of which he lost. Hugh Jackson forced to go very deep into his playbook. Terrell Pryor, who is his #1 receiver, taking a number of snaps at quarterback in the first half, and it really worked once they settled in as Tracy Howard returns it close to the 30, a return of 14 yards. Solomon, what about some adjustments in the second half?
I think if you're the Cleveland Browns, you feel like you've done a good job, but what you can do is create turnovers on defense and turn those possessions into touchdowns. You're going to need to put more points on the board if you think you're going to get out of here with a win. And then for the Dolphins on offense, they need better speed, rhythm, and tempo offensively. They've got to pick up the pace and be able to crack the code right now, the Cleveland Browns defense.
So go!
Saw Kessler's numbers as they begin the second half from just inside their own 30.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Boy, that is the 3rd penalty called against Austin Pastor. He had 2 of them against him on Cleveland's last drive of the second quarter.
We talked about Hugh Jackson's done a masterful coaching job in the first half to take the lead at halftime, but you can't have the penalties, can't have the errors and costly mistakes and beat yourself.
This is 1st and 15. Isaiah Crowell trying to build off what he did last week. And he's tackled on the play by Kiko Alonso, a pickup of 7. There's Terrell Pryor. Again, their #1 receiver took 4 snaps at quarterback, Solomon, in the first half.
Yeah, and throwing the ball down the field, 26 yards. You can see 14 rushing yards. He's been able to run it on a couple of reverse plays, but then catching the ball down the field and creating some critical moments. Catching the ball from Cody Kessler to set up the field goals. He's been a very important part of what they're doing on offense today.
This is Kessler on 2nd and 9. That passed on a little bit low, but Pryor able to go down for it. It's a pickup of 8. And Hugh Jackson has been around this kid a lot. He was the one who drafted him in the 3rd round of the supplemental draft in Oakland back in 2011. Had him as a quarterback. Had him as a quarterback in Cincinnati's OTAs last June before he was cut there. And it was really Hugh Jackson who is responsible for making the recommendation to Pryor to make the switch to wide receiver.
He's a phenomenal athlete. Size, speed, and can get down the field. Now let's see what they dial up on 3rd down. Bunch formation to the left side of the formation.
Browns have struggled on 3rd downs today. Need a yard here. We'll see where the officials spot it. Needed the 40. 1st down, Cleveland.
That was just a real masterful play design. I thought they were going to throw it, maybe some bubble screen over to that trips and bunch formation. What they did is they saw they had the numbers in the box that was advantageous to check to the quick run play by Isaiah Crowell, who was able to get across that 40-yard line, hit the marker just enough to get the 1st down.
Cole Meese has a neck injury. His return is questionable. And that could be some big news for Miami, one of their starting linebackers. Pryor again taking the snap at quarterback. Able to elude a sacker and runs out of bounds, but he just shows you how athletic he is. Just a freakishly gifted athlete. Able to run out of bounds and avert disaster.
That was Cameron Wake, who's pretty athletic himself, as he's bearing down on Terrell Pryor. Look at this. He'll unblock. Think he's going to come in? No. Look at the quickness of Terrell Pryor. We talk about his overall athleticism, that speed that he has at the wide receiver position bodes well when he's in the pocket with an unblocked defender bearing down on him.
2nd and 10. Kessler back under center. Goes play action. Going to throw on the run and has his man. It's Barnidge. The tight end inside the Miami 40. 22 yards on a well-thrown ball from Kessler.
Oh, they scheme the tight end open. See, here's Barnidge. Watch him check and release and come open. As they go reverse bootleg, they start one way, roll it back the other. The defense just leaves Barnidge wide open. And if Rashard Jones isn't there to get him off, get him down, probably score a touchdown. So right now, you can see that Hugh Jackson is setting up his plays in a way to keep this defense off balance, keep them guessing, and to get receivers open.
Barnidge putting together a nice day. 3rd catch, 56 yards. He's been a good target for Kessler. Another completion, and the football comes loose. That's one of their rookie receivers, Ricardo Lewis. The officials will rule this a catch and fumble, and recovered by Cleveland. So officially, it's a pickup of 5 for Lewis, the 4th round pick out of Auburn.
Yeah, this is not a bang-bang play. He catches it. He gets going. I mean, he protected himself, and he made what we call the requisite football move. And then the ball came out. So, yes, it was a fumble, but he was able to recover it himself.
Lewis, another Miami native, prepped at Miami Beach Senior High School. He's been mostly a special teams player the first 2 weeks. This is Johnson inside the 20. And finally brought down after a 16-yard burst and another Cleveland 1st down.
Oh, what a fast hitting play. Watch him cut it back. And he just really rips right through the defense. And what a tackle by Isa Abdul-Quddus. This is a collision downfield, and Quddus is still able to make that tackle. That's an excellent tackle because I thought Johnson was going to run right into the end zone.
Right now, this Miami defense playing on its heels. 1st and 10. Not sure what kind of speech Hugh gave his team at halftime, but they have been juiced up here to start the 3rd quarter.
Think about it. Hugh Jackson is winning this football game. He is coaching He's trying to do everything he can to help his young quarterback, Cody Kessler. They're without their first-string quarterback, Robert Griffin III. They're without their second-string quarterback, Josh McCown. They're without their talented first-round pick receiver, Corey Coleman. But yet and still, they're able to make plays. They're even without their starting center, Cameron Irving, in this game.
Irving sustained that bruised lung in the game against the Ravens last week. Kessler on 2nd and 8. Late flag comes in behind the play as Kessler just throws it out of bounds. Pressure coming by Mario Williams.
Holding. Offense number 67. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Well, Austin Pastor's having a rough afternoon. The 4th penalty on Hugh Jackson's right tackle.
Well, that's the only thing that can derail what is a really good drive. There you see the holding on Ndamukong Suh. Nearly undresses Suh, who is bearing down on Cody Kessler.
Pastor, a 4th-year tackle out of Virginia. 2nd season for him in Cleveland. We knew that this vaunted defensive front for Miami would be problematic. And Pastor's having a rough afternoon. 2nd and 18. This is Crowell, tackled by Rashad Jones after a minimal pickup of 1, and now Pryor getting tangled up with Maxwell away from the play.
Maxwell goes 6'1", 205, and he's a pretty big corner. However, he's no match for the 6'4", 225-pound Terrell Pryor. Look at him. They're tussling, but you get the sense that Pryor's in control of this thing. He's just holding and saying, okay, I'm not letting go till the officials tell me to.
3rd and 17 here. Sent play of the drive for Cleveland as Kessler will work from the shotgun. Play clock down to 0s. Not sure he got it off in time.
He was trying to go silent count.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's not on Cody Kessler. He was pumping his knee, and that's telling John Greco, go ahead and snap it. I'm ready for you to snap it. They have to go silent count because it's loud here in this building. See, watch him lift his leg. Once he lifted his leg, he said, okay, you got to go ahead and snap it. You got to go ahead and snap it. He was too late, and so that's on the center, John Greco, who's normally playing right guard, but because Cameron Irving, the starting center, is out, they move Greco from guard to center, and then you get the mistakes.
3rd and 22 after the penalty. Kessler finds his man. This is Duke Johnson right up the seam. And then some extracurriculars after the tackle. 5 yards on the pass play as they'll get Cody Parkey a little bit closer into more favorable field goal range.
Jason Jones, number 98, still tugging at Duke Johnson after he was down. Very close to getting an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty there, but they're going to let him play.
And you can see Kessler almost saying exactly what you said, Sam, and Hugh Jackson, that he was telling the center to snap the football. As Hugh wanted an explanation. So here's Cody Parkey, 2 of 3 today. His only miss coming from 42. And this one is no good off the left upright. Both of his misses coming to the left. Off-season, Browns tight end Gary Barnidge visited Egypt as part of a trip with several other players, including Marshawn Lynch, D'Angelo Williams, and the Dolphins' Jordan Cameron. They were there with a group Barnidge co-founded called American Football Without Barriers, which serves to use sport as a tool to help disadvantaged children reach higher levels of education and to live healthy, fit lifestyles. And Barnidge has had a nice afternoon till this point, but tough way to end what was a pretty good-looking drive that covered a lot of yards.
Yeah, and we said that they needed to get turnovers, but they also needed to turn those great possessions and opportunities into points. You can see Hugh Jackson sorely disappointed to get absolutely nothing out of the 11-play drive.
It did chew up some of that third quarter clock here as Ryan Tannehill and his offense finally get their first chance. But not much to talk about after the initial success, Solomon, they had in the first half.
Out of 7 first-half possessions, you can see 2 interceptions thrown by Ryan Tannehill, including on the first possession of the game. So they got off to a bad start, and they've never really seemed to be able to find their rhythm.
This is Tannehill from the gun on 2nd and 7. They take a shot off the far side of the field, and that falls incomplete. Flag comes in towards the end of the play. Intended receiver was Stills, and Jamar Taylor, who had the first of Tannehill's picks, the man on the coverage.
Well, certainly Stills is going to come open, but then he was held on the play by his former teammate, Jamar Taylor.
Pass, illegal contact, defense, number 21. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down, Miami.
Take a look. You'll see. Go ahead and roll it. You off the top. Then we'll hold it. You'll see it right here. You're going to get the grab. Right there, you're going to get the grab, and you'll see why this ball sails over the head of Kenny Stills as opposed to being a completion.
Well, didn't appear to be much, but even that subtle hold, enough to draw the flag from the officials. So 5-yard penalty. It's a 1st and 10 from just inside the 40. This is Isaiah Pead, 4th different Dolphins running back to have a carry in this game, a pickup of only a couple. Jamie Meter on the tackle.
Well, they're trying to get something going in this run game. I think Tannehill needs the help of a run game to help manufacture drives. Only 79 yards rushing right now for the Miami Dolphins.
Still plenty of time on the play clock. 2nd and 8 with Tannehill back under center. Play action. Tannehill all day to throw, completes. Landry inside Cleveland territory, run out of bounds at around the 42, a pickup of 16.
Well, here's the key. They got great protection. Watch Landry. He's going to come clear across the field. And all the while, Tannehill's holding the ball, waiting and just waiting. The Cleveland Browns, if there's one thing about this defense, they struggle to get a consistent pass rush. If you can keep Tannehill clean, they can get receivers down the field, and they should have time to get open.
1st and 10. Tannehill off the far seam. It's Landry again. Still going. 5, and he's into the end zone for the Miami touchdown. 42 yards from Tannehill.
The protection held up, Spiro. We get a flag on this celebration in the end zone. But boy, this is exactly what the Dolphins needed, and probably what Hugh Jackson feared the most.
Running on the field is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 14 for Miami. It's a 15-yard penalty being forced on the kickoff. That is not the type of foul that is set for disqualification. It's not.
There's Landry there, and then watch Tannehill. Watch how much time he has, and look how long it takes for this play to develop. But yet the protection was clean, and he made a laser-like throw to Landry, who knows how to catch the ball in contested areas. And there you see the foul on the celebration play by Landry.
It was Derek Kindry, the rookie safety for Cleveland, who missed the tackle, making his first career start, 4th-round pick out of TCU as Franks bangs in the extra point. 10th career touchdown catch for Landry, and his first of the season to get Miami back in front. Grand reopening of Hard Rock Stadium. This one of the many eateries in the building. It is called Grown. There is Ray Allen, the longtime NBA star, Ray Allen's wife, Shannon. This restaurant owned by Ray and his wife. The first ever full organic restaurant in a U.S. stadium, Solomon.
Ray's been known to knock down shots. I didn't know he was good at the culinary arts.
Plenty of good eats all around this building, and this place looks fantastic. As the fans finally with something to cheer about. Ryan Tannehill, the long touchdown strike to Jarvis Landry. And then a late penalty marker at the end of that return by George Atkinson. Clete Blakeman is our referee.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 54. Penalty's 10 yards from the end of the run. From the spot of the foul. First down, Cleveland.
Dominique Alexander, the man penalized, as the Dolphins able to answer, finally trying to kick their offense into high gear. Stay with us. Tomorrow, See Why Kevin Can Wait is now TV's #1 new comedy. Kevin James is back tomorrow after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. Well, Joe Thomas, the NFL's Iron Man. It's an incredible run he's been on, 9 Pro Bowls to begin his career. And this is one of the most incredible snaps that I think exists in sports. 91 consecutive snaps, 9,100 consecutive, has never missed an offensive play since the Browns took him 3rd overall in 2007. Just remarkable. This is Terrell Pryor going to try to run it. Flag comes in towards the end of the play. It's an 11-yard run by Pryor. We'll see if it's coming back.
Holding. Offense. Number 80. A 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. Still first down.
Well, just to get back to Thomas, we know he's a big, tough football player, but this guy is full of personality. He may have a burgeoning broadcasting career in front of him.
I may not have won that Emmy last year, but I won a gold medal. If you won a gold medal, what would your victory dance look like?
I might do the Usain Bolt.
Can you hum the Olympic theme song?
No, I could not.
Mark Spitz, remember him?
No, I don't actually.
He was awesome. He was like the Michael Phelps before Michael Phelps was Michael Phelps.
That's Joe Thomas interviewing some of his teammates, something he's been doing in their locker room the last couple of years. As on 1st and 15, that offensive line having some issues now with that Dolphins defensive front. There's Thomas talking things over with Gary Barnidge.
Yeah, Joe Thomas is one of the smart players, real bright, very engaging. You could see him blocking right there. I remember what he said. He says, offensive linemen, we have to be good at everything. Defensive linemen, why do they get to just be good at one thing? Like a designated pass rusher. He's a specialist at either stopping the run or rushing quarterbacks. He's like, we don't get to just be good at one thing. He was quite a pleasure to visit with.
2nd and 15. Kessler under duress again. Has to throw off his back foot. There's Malcolm Johnson, his fullback. First touch for Johnson on the day. 3 yards for the former 6th-round pick out of Mississippi State. Kiko Alonso on the tackle.
Kiko Alonso, I think he's been a huge addition to this defense in Miami. And he's very athletic. Look at the hit. Wicked tackle on the fullback, Malcolm Johnson. Kiko Alonso, quick, rangy, very smart player, and now learning to be a more vocal player as he quarterbacks the Dolphins defense.
Kessler has hit on 6 straight throws. Just haven't been able to get much down the field. 3rd and 12. Kessler flushed out, wrapped up, and brought down at around the 14-yard line by Andre Branch. It's a loss of 3 on the play.
And now you see the energy in this place is beginning to ramp up. The tempo and energy on defense is going to another level since that hit by Kiko Alonso. And then watch this, just swarming was Branch to get to the quarterback, Cody Kessler.
So Britton Colquitt on to punt. As that clock continues to run down to 2 and change remaining in this 3rd quarter. Jakeem Grant won't have a play on it. 50 yards on the punt. A little pushing and shoving after that play. 17-13 Miami. Here in Miami, they're having a little bit more fun than they were earlier. Home opener for Adam Gase and the Dolphins, up 4 against the Cleveland Browns on 1st and 10. Look at Tannehill all day to throw the football, and he finds his man. It's Devontae Parker down the field. And right now the Browns just unable to generate anything in terms of a pass rush. 23 yards in the play.
It's all about rhythm right now. They're getting it going. They go reverse rollout. And look, he's got all day to throw the ball. whenever they've been able to score in this game, it's been really quick drives, a 5-play scoring drive and a 4-play scoring drive on the previous possession.
See Tannehill's numbers to this point. One of those interceptions, a 27-yard pick six by Buddy Calhoun back in the first half. This is Ajayi making a couple of guys miss inside the Cleveland 35 and very close to another first down run. Take us back to that Landry touchdown.
Well, Jarvis Landry, they're bringing him clear across the field. That means they have a lot of time, does Tannehill, to throw these passes to the crossing Landry. It really starts with the inability of the Cleveland Browns to get a pass rush on Ryan Tannehill. Whenever you run those crossing routes, it requires a lot of time for the quarterback, a lot of time for the route to develop. But right now, they're not even getting close to Tannehill, and he's picking them apart.
It's a favorable play here for an offensive coordinator. Second and short, taking a shot down the field. It's Landry again inside the 20. And right now, this Miami offense in business with inside of a minute left in the quarter.
Well, Tannehill did get his jersey dirty. He was hit, but not until he found his receiver open. Look, a crossing route yet again. Landry coming across the field, working in front of the safety, Derrick Kendrick. But right now, they're picking them apart because, again, Tannehill has all day to stand in the pocket and allow those crossing routes to develop.
Landry now 4 catches, 76 yards and the touchdown. Led the league after week 2 in receptions. Could be the final play of the drive, of the quarter rather. This is Sims on 1st and 10, a pickup of 7. Tackle on the play by Jordan Poyer. Miami appears to want another run to play here, and now they'll let it run out. So that is the end of quarter number 3 in Miami. Dolphins in front of the Browns 17-13. We'll return to Miami after this and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the 4th quarter in Miami. A missed field goal by Cody Parkey after Cleveland had a pretty impressive drive to start this second half. Looms very large at this point as the Dolphins trying to put some distance between they and the Browns on the scoreboard. 2nd and 4. This is Ajayi trying to get inside the 10. Tackle on the play by Demario Davis. And all the pressure right now on Hugh Jackson's defense to try to get off the field and limit them to a field goal try.
And Adam Gase has really found a way to get something going against Ray Horton's defense that really had given them problems in the first half. In the 3rd quarter, we saw those crossing routes by Jarvis Landry, which this Browns defense doesn't appear to be able to stop because Tannehill's got significant time to stand in the pocket, allow those plays to develop.
We know that Mike Pouncey, their all-pro center, is unavailable today with that hip injury. So Anthony Steen, the man who is hurt. This is Craig Urbik, the former Buffalo Bill, who's now taking some practice snaps. It looks to be the left foot of Steen. Undrafted out of Alabama. A couple of seasons under his belt here in Miami after coming over from Arizona. It looks like Steen will come off at least for a few plays. And now Urbik. And this is a tough spot. You know how much chemistry is involved between a center and a quarterback.
Yeah, and Urbik, every single snap that they took on the side, he and Tannehill was with Tannehill under center. You know, if you're on defense, those are the things that you have to notice. You see a new center coming in, he's working over there with the quarterback. Pay attention, because now you know that the snaps you're going to get here should come with Tannehill under center, which means they're going to run the ball or go with the play action.
It's a critical play that Urbik has come in for. 3rd and 1. Dolphins need a 9 to move the chains. Sims in motion. Play action from Tannehill. Completes. This is Williams out of the backfield. Lunges end zone. Touchdown Miami.
clearly the Cleveland Browns weren't paying attention. I just told them they were going to get either a run play or play action. Slipping right out of the back of the end zone. It was a nice little play fake to the right side, and they bite on it, and look, they leave him wide open. Well, the missed tackle by Tramon Williams certainly hurts him. He's got to be able to make that one-on-one tackle in space. He's the first unblocked defender. He's got to be able to get there.
Tramon Williams, longtime NFL vet, making the start for the injured Joe Hayden, who was a scratch with a groin injury. Williams, a Pro Bowl player for that Green Bay team that won the Super Bowl back in 2010. And a critical missed tackle as Miami able to build on their lead. Franks with the point after. Tannehill on that drive, 4 for 4, 53 yards, and it's Damian Williams going airborne for 6.
At Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. Ryan Tannehill's got all day to throw the ball. The Browns can't get any kind of pass rush or pressure on Tannehill in that third quarter. Look, they got the time on the clock, just holding on to it for these crossing routes to develop. 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds in this situation where he holds the ball almost all day, allowing Devontae Parker to get open. When you give Tannehill this kind of time, he can pick you apart. 24 dropbacks, no sacks. He's been hurried maybe 6 times. That's because he's holding it until they get there, and been knocked down maybe 3 times. But he now has 3 touchdown passes in this game, and he's getting hot here in the second half.
We know Carl Nassib, their stud third-round pick out of Penn State, is out with that broken hand. But also keep in mind that they lost Desmond Bryant, their leading sack man from a year ago, to that pectoral injury. And he is out. They just have not been able to generate any kind of a pass rush as Miami gets some excellent coverage on the kick down the field. Stay with us. Well, your weekend starts on Thursday night when the Miami Dolphins battle the Cincinnati Bengals. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. So a tough turnaround for Adam Gase and the Dolphins. How about some fantasy leaders around the NFL? Week 3 continues to take shape. Good one between the Redskins and the Giants in East Rutherford. And look at LaShawn McCoy, big performance. As Buffalo at last check was up at home against Arizona. And how about Marvin Jones, nearly 200 yards receiving.
Well, the Bengals miss him, but he found a home in Detroit with Matthew Stafford.
Well, can Cody Kessler and this offense regroup? After their long drive stalled, Cody Parkey missed that field goal at the end of their opening possession of the third quarter. And if you've just joined us, Kessler struggled earlier, had a couple of fumbles, was banged around, but he has really settled in since then.
Yeah, I think Hugh Jackson has done a good job of presenting easy throws like that one. What you just saw to Andrew Hawkins, where he can get the catch and run. They're not asking Cody Kessler to push the ball down the field unless he gets a one-on-one opportunity with Terrell Pryor.
Kessler goes play action on 2nd and 1. Hit on the throw, and that sputters incomplete.
He wanted Pryor coming over the middle of the field. Looks like Pryor's going to get open, but that arm is going to be hit. See, they can't protect this long for Cody Kessler. As you can see, he gets hit by Issa Abdul-Quddus. Kudus, I stand corrected.
There are the 2 injured quarterbacks, RG3, Josh McCown, who was so valiant last week in playing with that fractured clavicle. All they can do is watch. 3rd and 1. Kessler goes underneath. This is Duke Johnson breaking the initial tackler. What a play by Johnson. Catch and run and a first down play for Cleveland. A pickup of 7.
Johnson is a phenomenal receiver out of the backfield. They're going to need him to make plays. The ball has gone to Terrell Pryor in many forms and fashion. We've seen the tight end Gary Barnidge make plays, but I think that third receiver in this case with Corey Coleman out has to be Duke Johnson.
We saw Miami signaling for a timeout. Not sure if they were in the right defensive formation.
Prior to the snap, Miami calls its first time out of the half.
So Vance Joseph will get his unit set. An 11-point lead for Miami. Home opener for Miami. 1st and 10 for Cleveland. Terrell Pryor again taking a shotgun snap. We've seen Pryor extended time at quarterback today, unable to locate Andrew Hawkins. There is the 43-year-old defensive coordinator for Miami. Vance Joseph had to wait and bide his time to finally get a chance to be a coordinator, but he and Gase, two of the most coveted young coaches, Solomon, in the NFL.
And right now, what this Dolphins defense has to be able to do, Spiro, they've got to get pressure with their 4 down linemen, the likes of Cameron Wake. They've got names along the defensive line: Mario Williams, Ndamukong Suh, Jordan Phillips. They run the wide 9s, taught to them by their defensive line coach Jim Washburn, but pressure starts with their front 4.
Kessler now back, taking the step, locates Pryor. Pryor, using that slashing ability, gets inside Dolphins territory, showing that athletic talent that he has. 25 yards for a Cleveland 1st down.
How about Cody Kessler? He recognizes the blitzing linebacker. That's going to be Kiko Alonso, and they throw it right behind the area where he vacates. Look at that open area. So he saw the blitzing linebacker. They were ready to take advantage of it, and that's why if I'm the Dolphins, I only want to get pressure with my front 4. I don't want to give up cheap, easy reads for the quarterback. You shouldn't have to blitz Cody Kessler in order to put pressure on.
Kessler, without a doubt, getting a little bit more comfortable. Goes play action here on 1st and 10. Kessler flushed out, probes the defense, takes a shot, and he finds his man. It's Lewis. All the way down to the Miami 15-yard line. 28 yards from Kessler.
Now right now, look, pressure's not getting there. Here comes Suh. He breaks loose, but they don't contain Kessler in the pocket. They lose containment when 98, Jason Jones, gets out of position. They throw it down the field to Lewis, and Lewis makes the grab. Boy, did he pay for that one.
Quick pitch play. This is Crowell trying to find the edge, breaking in the initial tackle. And Crowell getting close to the 10. So it's so hard to play quarterback in this league, as you well know. You know, for a veteran guy who's seasoned. This is a 23-year-old kid thrust into the role this week. And again, he's really settled in and looking impressive here in this 3rd quarter.
What did we say off the top? That he had to show poise. If there was one thing that he needed to do, was be poised, because critical errors, unforced errors, that really is on Cody Kessler. I really have to give credit to his coach and the players around Cody Kessler. They're playing well also.
Saw his 2nd half numbers. 2nd and 7. Throws a dart, but it's incomplete. Intended for Lewis, the 4th-round pick out of Auburn. Xavier Howard was there. Another rookie on the coverage.
This ball's going to be caught, but watch Howard rake this ball out of the hands of Lewis. We said that one of these young rookie receivers was going to have to make a play for Kessler. Ricardo Lewis has done that. They drafted 3 receivers this year in that draft class for the Cleveland Browns. All 3 of them are playing today, only one making plays.
3rd and 7. Flags come in. Kessler gets blown up again. Football comes loose. It's Jelani Jenkins on the recovery.
This is going to be close. Cameron Wake was shot out of a cannon. Now, did he get into that neutral zone too soon? Because he certainly got the jump on the right tackle, Austin Pasture. He's trying to time the snap. According to the officials, I think he was across the line.
There was a 37-yard return by Jenkins, but is it coming back?
Offside. Defense. Number 91. At least 5 yards. Previous spot. Replay 3rd down.
Oh, wow, that was close. That was close. He certainly beat Pasture. He certainly got a jump on the snap. They're going to say he was just too early, too soon. But you know what? Cody Kessler still feels that. You say, well, that play doesn't count. It counts because he feels it.
Salmon, what are they thinking here? Play call 3rd and 2.
I think you try to set the formation to get Terrell Pryor matched up one-on-one. You either have the back shoulder throw if the defensive back is over the top. If the defensive back wants to play trail technique, go ahead and take a shot with the fade route.
Appears to be some blood on Kessler's right elbow, so the officials walk him over to the sideline. And this could be interesting here if Kessler has to come off. There's Charlie Whitehurst, who was signed just this week after Josh McCown was injured. And that looks like Pryor getting some instruction. Whitehurst.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't put Whitehurst in at quarterback. You go with the guy who's already been playing quarterback instead of Kessler. You go with Terrell Pryor at quarterback. This gives you more options. He could keep it and run it in himself. He could go read option here, and he also can throw it for a touchdown based on the look the defense is going to give him.
Ninth play of the drive that started at their own 17. 3rd and 2. Pryor looking for daylight right at the first down marker. We'll wait for the official spot. Another flag comes in at the opposite side of the field. Neville Hewitt, the man who forced Pryor out of bounds. Appears to be just a couple of inches away from that first down marker.
Offside defense. Left defensive tackle was in the neutral zone at the snap. Penalty's half the distance to the goal line. The yardage is enough for a first down.
Oh, you give him a new set of downs. He didn't give us the number of who he thought was going to be. Okay, there's one to jump. Now watch this. He stopped right there. He tried to get to the outside. I thought he could have gotten inside, but you could see he's trying to get out there. Looked like it might have been Ndamukong Suh who moved into that neutral zone before the snap of the ball, giving a new set of downs to Cleveland.
So fresh set of downs and a lot of options here with Pryor at the quarterback. 1st and goal from the Miami 3. Pryor takes the snap, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland.
Touchdown, Cleveland. This is the tough part about defending, whether you call it wildcat or anything else. The quarterback can keep it himself, but it's a great block by Isaiah Crowell. Take a look at this. He'll seal the edge. And once he blocks right there, so you can get Pryor to the outside.
And nothing to think about here, right? You go for 2.
Yeah, I think you go ahead and go for 2. Make it a one-score game. Hugh Jackson doing one well of a job coaching around the talent. His 3rd quarterback gets knocked out. He doesn't go
unbelievable
with the 4th-string quarterback and Charlie Whitehurst. No, he turns to Terrell Pryor.
So 2-point conversion attempt with Cody Kessler back under center. Kessler quick drop, throws end zone. It is caught. Barnes. And the 2-point try is converted. Cleveland within a field goal.
This is the only thing they can do. They're not going to allow the inexperienced Cody Kessler to throw it over the middle of the field. No, they go to the perimeter to Gary Barnidge over Issa Abdul Quddus for the 2-point conversion. Hugh Jackson keeping his team in it.
Wild second half between Cleveland and Miami. Cody Parkey, that missed kick from 42 yards out. Didn't get anything for the 11-play drive. And then Miami, you saw him and you thought, starting to pull away.
Well, they get the ball into the hands of their playmakers, whether it's Jarvis Landry or Damian Williams. They scored very quickly on short drives, but how about Terrell Pryor filling in for Cody Kessler, is able to run it in for the touchdown. Kessler comes back in, converts the 2-point conversion, getting the ball to the tight end, Gary Barnidge, and right now 24-21. Great coaching job by Hugh Jackson's group, considering how many starters are out of today's game.
Let's not forget the emotional loss that they had to overcome after blowing that 20-2 home lead against Baltimore last week. They thought they had the Ravens dead in the water, lose that game. Then they had the nightmare week of injuries. Such a gritty performance by Hugh Jackson and the Cleveland Browns.
And I asked him, I said, what in your life has prepared you for what you've experienced this week? He said, nothing. He said, I've never seen anything like it. I've never lost quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks. He said, but my guys are excited to play. He said, and once more, we're going to get all those guys back that are injured. So if we could weather this early storm and come out and play with some guts and some grit, he said, we're going to be fine as a football team. And I'm really impressed with the way they're fighting today.
First and 10, they keep it on the ground. This is Kenyon Drake as we send you to New York. Get an update with JB and Tony.
Battle in Cincinnati.
That's right here. You can see Trevor Siemian drop back. He gets his third touchdown pass of the day to John Phillips. 1 yard right there. 22-17. Denver is up over Cincinnati.
Back to Spiro and Solomon.
Great finish there between Denver and Cincinnati here in Miami. 2nd and 4, 3-point lead for the Dolphins. They were up 11 just a couple of minutes ago. Tannehill goes underneath. This is Landry. And now a chance, Solomon, for this offense to show some confidence and put this team in a position to win after a couple of very close losses to begin their season.
So what does the Miami Dolphins have to do? I think they've got to answer. They've got to be able to eat clock, finish off this possession with points. And that means rely on the protection that you're getting for Ryan Tannehill if you're Adam Gates. Go ahead and go back to some of those crossing routes that you hit on in the third quarter.
Anthony Steen has an ankle injury. His return is questionable. The start for Pouncey as Drake is blown up in the backfield by Demario Davis, who came over in free agency from the New York Jets, a loss of a yard. And that was the absolute last worst-case scenario for Miami.
I don't like the play call. I know they're trying to run it and pick up the first down, but their offensive line right now is doing a much better job in pass protection than they are in run blocking. They are struggling to run the football against this Cleveland defense, but yet they're dominating when it comes to protecting the quarterback against this defense of the Cleveland Browns.
What did Demario Davis tell us? Said that our defense is basically like the special forces this week with everything that the offense is dealing with and all the injuries. Put all the onus on his shoulders with he and that Cleveland defensive unit. 48 yards in the punt, 3-point Cleveland deficit on CBS. 24-21, Miami's lead sliced to 3 with 8 change remaining in the fourth quarter. Coming up, plenty of more games to look forward to as Week 3 takes shape. A big one between Philly and Pittsburgh in a battle between Ben Roethlisberger and the rookie phenom at quarterback Carson Wentz, who is off to a phenomenal start in his rookie season. There's Hugh Jackson. Cody Kessler, we are told, was checked out by the concussion people on the sideline. Neurosurgeons and spotters there who did clear it. They did not bring him into the locker room, so Kessler is good to go and back onto the field. 1st and 10 thrown off his back foot, and a lot of pressure as they try to put something together.
He just hit his head again. Mario Williams had something to do with it. Watch, it comes off this bootleg, and there's Mario Williams right in his face. Plants him into the ground right there. He did a good job of just throwing that ball into the dirt and not trying to force it into coverage and getting the turnover. You can see great pressure. So the front 4 of the Dolphins is starting to get to Kessler. He doesn't have to push it down the field here. They got plenty of time to work with. Play to move the chains.
Kessler on 2nd and 10, far side of the field. That pass falls incomplete. Jelani Jenkins, one of Miami's starting outside linebackers, has a thigh injury, we're told, and his return is questionable. Big play call coming up here on 3rd and 10.
Real big play call, and to me, I think it's your Cody Kessler right now. You just pray that they blitz you, because he seems to be able to read the blitz, and it really gives him opportunity to create big plays in the passing game. If they only rush 4, that means they're going to force him to check it down and not go deep with the football. He's got to be careful not to force the ball into coverage.
3rd and 10. Incomplete. Intended for Pryor. Maxwell was right with him step for step.
4-man rush. That meant he had to go with the underneath coverage. He's trying to go underneath on the slant route to Terrell Pryor. But just a great break by Byron Maxwell. Did a really good job in coverage. I just thought that Terrell Pryor he's a bigger presence. He won the inside position. He's got to be able to catch that ball even though it was hotly contested.
Well, Pryor thought that Maxwell was a little bit early with the contact. Byron Maxwell coming over from Philly, trying to put the disappointment of last season behind him. With that great one with Seattle to begin his career. And now trying to resurrect his career in Miami. Colquitt on the punt again. As that clock continues to run. Fair catch signaled by Landry. And excellent field position for Miami, as they will have it just inside their own 35. So here comes Ryan Tannehill, who has been under the microscope ever since Miami took him in the first round back in 2012. Has yet to lead the Dolphins into the playoffs. They haven't had a winning season here. But such a high ceiling in this Adam Gase coached offense as they try to put this game on ice with 8 and change remaining.
Problem with this offense, they tend to score when they go up tempo. Well, when you have this lead, you don't need to go up tempo, but you still need to be able to score. You got to find a way to eat clock while still just sort of slowing the game down.
First and 10, and Sims in motion.
This is one way of doing it.
One play called by Gase. This is Isaiah P., the former second-round pick of the Rams. Coming over in free agency from the Steelers, Corey Lemonnier on the tackle.
So right now, if you're the Dolphins, you don't need to be in a hurry. You can run the ball. You can eat clock, force Cleveland to burn their 3 timeouts. Make sure that you can convert and pick up a new set of downs, running the football or dumping it off in the short passing game.
Keep in mind, no Arian Foster for Miami today, out with that groin injury. This is Tannehill, play action on 2nd and 7. Throws a dart and completes to Jarvis Landry for a Miami first down. 9 yards from Tannehill.
Everything worked well there. They went play action, and then they roll back over to the side of Jarvis Landry in the short passing game on this comeback route beyond the sticks for the first down. The only thing he would just love to have stayed in bounds there, but he gets knocked out of bounds, stops the clock. So you can see Adam Gase trying to dial up something here that continues to eat clock and move the chains as well.
Gase, the youngest head coach in the NFL at 38. Trying to come up with the right batch of play calls here. This is 1st and 10. Tannehill again had an ample amount of time. They finally get to him, and Tannehill throws it out of bounds. It was Agba who eventually got to him.
Well, they wanted to go trips. He wanted to go to his left side where he had a trio of receivers over to the left side before he looks over there. It's well covered. They had him a lot down. He goes to the right side. It's well covered. Now, what he can't do is can't take a sack, and he's forced to throw it out of bounds, which stops the clock and conserves time for the Browns.
Keep in mind, this is a shorthanded Cleveland secondary. No Joe Hayden. A 2-time Pro Bowl cornerback out in a late stretch with that groin injury. 2nd and 10. Pocket collapses around Tannehill. Low pass is incomplete. Landry trying to come back to it. Unable to pull it in.
Wow, that's a dagger because it stops the clock on the incompletion. Tannehill's on the move. You got to be able to make that one. That's just a drop, Spiro. Jarvis Landry, normally sure-handed. He knows. He put it on the ground, should have had it.
Salmon, surprised that we haven't seen them run it a little bit more the last couple of plays. Keep that clock on.
Well, they're not as good and as the depth in the running game as they are at protecting their quarterback. So I think a run here or there, but more importantly, the short passing game gets you the same as running the football. It keeps the clock running as long as you get the completion.
3rd and 10. Here come the Browns. Giving chase. Tannehill under pressure, and that is incomplete. You see Cleveland screaming for the penalty. And let's see what the officials will determine here. It was Kirksey and Jamar Taylor applying the pressure.
They're going to say it's intentional grounding. They're going to say he didn't have anyone in the vicinity.
Was still within the tackle box.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 17. The quarterback was in the pocket. There was no receiver in the area.
So he's still in the
Ball
tackle.
placed at the spot of the pass. It's a loss of down. It brings up 4th down.
The officials are finishing up their call. But you can see in the tackle box, he just threw it away to save himself. But there was no Miami Dolphin receiver in the vicinity of that throw. So 3 consecutive incompleted passes by Tannehill on that drive, including an intentional ground.
Clearly still growing pains within this offense from Miami, as their offense has missed a couple of huge opportunities to basically put this game away on their last 2 drives. There's Matt Darr, the second-year punter. With that door left wide open for Cody Kessler and Cleveland. This is Poyer trying to get Kessler some good field position out past the 25 and close to the 30. 55 yards on the punt and 17 on the return. Kessler has been under pressure all day long.
Hit, hurried, and harassed since the beginning of this game. There you see the fumble early in the ball game, but the kid has still managed to maintain some poise. He's been sacked 3 times and knocked down even more than that, but he continues to get back up and really perform strongly for his team in his first career start.
Holding, receiving team, number 59. Penalties half the distance to the goal line from the end of the kick. First down, Cleveland.
It's Tank Carter on a critical special teams penalty, as they would have had decent field position, and right now the officials will spot them just outside their own 10, and that is a killer for Kessler in this offense.
Yeah, and when you say it's a killer, what it really means, not only do you have to go further to score a touchdown, Spiro, as a play caller, if you're Hugh Jackson and you know you have a rookie quarterback in the game, do you allow him to throw the football down here the way that Cameron Wake is coming off the ball, creating pressure on that right tackle, Austin Pastor, who already has 4 penalties on him, and so really it limits what kind of plays that you can run down here. They're going to start off handing the football off to Isaiah Crowell.
Beg your pardon, they line up just outside the 5 after the penalty. Kessler sees that pass sail out of bounds. Back to New York, JB and Tony.
Boy, is Trevor Siemian doing a job?
Trevor Siemian, Peyton Manning's replacement, throws it up over the top to Demaryius Thomas for this 55-yard touchdown bomb. That's 4 touchdowns on the day for Trevor Siemian. 29-17, Denver up over Cincinnati.
I think Solomon would have to agree. That's dropping it in the basket. Wow, Spiro.
Trevor Siemian, man. John Elway, he must be the Jerry West of the NFL. He can pick it.
We will see Denver next week in Tampa, 2nd and 10. This is Crowell. A huge burst right up the gut. Rashad Jones finally makes the tackle. Monstrous play, 25 yards and a Cleveland first down.
What did Crowell tell us? He loves this offense because he gets to do this. He gets to run coming downhill, to the other side, but still right up the gut, running right at this defense. But he said, this is what I am accustomed to, whether it was in high school or college. He's used to running that power run style, not that zone concept that the Browns ran 1 season ago, and boy, is he taking advantage of it.
Once again, Hugh Jackson will put Pryor back at the quarterback position on 1st and 10. We have seen this all afternoon if you've just joined us. Pryor, quick strike. Little screen pass to Lewis, far side of the field, their 4th-round rookie out of Auburn, a pickup of 6. With NFL Game Pass, you can watch games you missed with condensed games in 45 minutes or the full broadcast version. Start a free trial today, NFL.com/Game Pass. Hugh Jackson has not been scared to go very deep into the playbook and get creative. As now Kessler back under center. Clock continues to run. Browns have all 3 timeouts. 2nd and 4. Kessler completes over the middle. It's Pryor. Pryor still going. Breaking free all the way down inside the Miami 25-yard line. 40 yards on the catch and run.
And this is why you don't have to throw the ball down the field. You get one-on-one opportunities, throw it underneath. Create catch and run opportunities for your receivers. You saw it with Andrew Hawkins, and now you see it with Terrell Pryor. Big, strong, fast. He's winning the matchup advantage against Byron Maxwell on the outside.
And look at the afternoon for Terrell Pryor. 7 catches, 135 yards in what has been his best day as a wide receiver in the NFL. Some more movement pre-snap.
Ball start. Offense, number 78. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Alvin Bailey.
Pryor today is like your throwback players in the NFL. Guys who were 60-minute men who never came off the field, played on offense, defense. He's got everything but a tackle or sack on the defensive side, but he's catching it, he's running it, and he's throwing it. He's making a lot of plays for this Browns football team today.
See the penalties that have really piled up against Cleveland. 1st and 15. It's Duke Johnson, the Miami kid, giving Crowell a breather. That clock continues to run, 4.5 to play. And I'm not sure anyone expected this in Miami coming home opener after a couple of tough losses. Cleveland with all the injuries. And they are right there here late.
Here's the key, though. Parkey's missed 2 field goals today. If you're Hugh Jackson, you know, you came in saying, we need everything to go right for us. Well, everything hasn't gone right, but yet they're still slugging away in this football game. And here's Pryor again lined up at quarterback.
2nd and 11. One play. Crowell gets to the 20. Again, keep in mind, Parkey signed because of the injury to Patrick Murray. Joined the team late Friday night. This was a Pro Bowl kicker a couple of years ago as a rookie in Philadelphia. Last year, injured early. They cut him. Not sure Hugh Jackson wants to put it on his shoulders after a couple of misses earlier.
No, where do they go here? You got to go for a touchdown here. And if you're Kessler, you go back to Pryor. If you get him locked up in one-on-one coverage, they're going to give us some time out. Allow Pryor to get some rest. He needs a breather to be able to make a play for his team.
They may as well use one here. Gives Hugh Jackson an extra minute or so to come up with the play call they want in the biggest play of the day for Cleveland.
Well, Terrell Pryor has been the guy making plays. Lined up at quarterback, running that wildcat option read, and then throwing the ball on the perimeter and completing passes down the field, and then catching the ball. Whether it's a catch and run or whether it's going deep down the field, he is finding his way into the end zone. He's been an integral part of the game plan that Hugh Jackson has designed specifically around his diverse talents, and you can see it on the stat sheet. 2 for 4 in terms of completions. Got passing yards, rush yards, and look at the receiving yards. Wow.
Kessler back onto the field, Solomon. Where does Hugh Jackson want to go here?
I think they're going to read the defense. You have Byron Maxwell one-on-one to the outside. You may get a combo route with Terrell Pryor and Hawkins to the left side of the formation.
Pryor lined up at the top of your picture on 3rd and 7. Kessler under pressure, and that pass broken up. And what's the ruling here? The whistle was blown, so the play was whistled dead. Miami perhaps arguing that Kessler's arm was never coming forward. Pressure on the play coming from the Pro Bowl safety Rashad Jones. There you can hear the whistle is blowing the play dead. So here comes Cody Parkey, who has missed on 2 of his 4 attempts. He's been good from 46 and 48, missed from 41 and 42. This a 38-yard attempt to tie this game. Parkey on target, and he is good. And the Browns have tied this game with 3:14 remaining.
Coming through for Hugh Jackson. Got to give the Dolphins credit. They looked like they were on their heels. Looked like Cleveland was going to get a touchdown on that drive, but they get the field goal with Parkey knocking it through. 2nd string kicker, 3rd string quarterback.
Unbelievable.
I gotta tell you, it is unbelievable.
Let's just think about this for a sec. Here's a guy who didn't join the team until Friday night. This is a pressure kick. Solomon, you've already missed a couple. Psychologically, that has an effect on a kicker. And you could almost see him exhale after he knew that kick was good.
Much to the dismay of Adam Gase, head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And now, you're the Dolphins. And Ryan Tannehill, you got to get going on offense. Now is where you ought to see some tempo. Remember, this offensive line, again, doing a much better job of protecting the quarterback than they're doing in the run game.
Miami led this game by 11 earlier in this quarter. It was 24-13. But 11 unanswered points by Cleveland, and we are all tied at 24. So here comes Tannehill, the 50-year quarterback. 20-29, 249, 3 touchdowns and a couple of picks. And no momentum after a pretty good start to the second half.
I know they're trying to stay balanced. They've run it.
Oh, we welcome a new audience here in Miami. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcots, rest of our CBS crew. Miami up 11 earlier in this fourth quarter, but 11 unanswered by the Browns. And we are all tied here with 3:14 remaining in the fourth. Tannehill on 1st and 10 from the gun. With a double clutch. That football comes loose. What's the call here? Cleveland says they have it. Was it a catch? And now the officials say incomplete. It was Jordan Poyer who batted the football loose.
Incomplete pass. Second down.
Well, how close was that?
It was a bang-bang play. He caught it just before he could make that football move. Ball came out. But it looked like there was a delay with the officials. It wasn't an immediate decision. Hugh Jackson with that red flag waiting to get some word from upstairs as to what they really think it is. Boom, right there. Did he put it away? Did he make the protective football move? And their ball comes out.
2nd and 10. Tannehill goes underneath again. This is Kenny Stills. Tripped up just past the 25-yard line, a pickup of 1. And once again, this Dolphins offense, Solomon, just appears to be stuck in the mud.
Very lethargic. And it starts with the quarterback. It starts with the quarterback getting everyone lined up. And he has to have a clear read on what the defense is giving him so that he can check them into the right play. Adam Gase is going to typically give him 2 or 3 plays, and he's got to be able to get him into the right play based on the look he gets from the defense.
Tannehill, 1 of his last 5 for a grand total of 1 yard. 3rd and 9. Tannehill's pass is incomplete. Intended for Devontae Parker. And once again, this Cleveland defense, as gritty as ever, able to get off the field with 2:17 remaining.
Just a bad throw by Tannehill. It's an incompleted pass, but look, it's inaccurate. Thrown behind the intended receiver. There was room to get that ball in front of Devontae Parker. You see Jamar Taylor's enjoying it. Former Dolphin coming back to play against his former teammates.
3rd consecutive punt after a Miami possession. Dar's punt. And now fair catch signaled by Poyer. So Kessler and company will have it from the 26 after a 48-yard punt. Well, if you've just joined us, we have seen some fireworks after halftime.
Oh, Jarvis Landry really got him going in the 3rd quarter on this play to create a touchdown. Then on the next possession, they go right down the field. Damian Williams takes it in. They open up the lead, but Terrell Pryor comes in. He's playing quarterback, receiver. He's doing everything he can. They get the 2-point conversion on that pass from Kessler to Barnidge, and then the field goal from Parkey ties it up. All at 24.
Again, this was an 11-point Miami lead early in the fourth quarter before Cleveland stormed back on 1st and 10. This is Duke Johnson. 1 out of bounds after a very impressive run of 9. Forced out of bounds by Hewitt. Where it's still 1 more play left to be run here before the 2-minute warning.
Let's go back to our halftime adjustments and what I said needed to happen for the Miami Dolphins. I said that they needed to have better tempo and rhythm and timing in the offense. We saw that on their first 2 possessions here in the second half, but Adam Gase looks bewildered. He was like, what happened to it? Because after those 2 possessions, when they scored touchdowns, they haven't done anything since on the offensive side of the ball.
And now all eyes on Kessler, the 23-year-old rookie quarterback, making his first start on 2nd and 1. We'll just throw that out of bounds, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Could be a marker thrown here at the end of the play.
It's in the secondary of the Miami Dolphins.
Our referee, if you've just joined us, is Clete Blakeman. And a potentially large call here with $1:56 on the clock.
There are 2 fouls on the defense. Holding, number 25, that penalty's declined. Illegal contact, number 31. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
So the penalty on the safety, Michael Thomas, is accepted. And that gives Kessler and Cleveland new life when we come back. What a 15-day whirlwind it's been for Cody Kessler. Inactive week 1, backup last week. Now the starter right now for the moment is on the sideline is Terrell Pryor. Will once again line up at quarterback for Hugh Jackson. All tied at 24, $1:56 to play. Browns with 2 timeouts left. This is Barnidge, the tight end, as he crosses the 40, brought down by Maxwell. Solomon, what about some strategy here in terms of the timeouts with $1:40 left and counting?
Well, first of all, you got to get a stop if you are the Miami Dolphins, and you look to burn one of those timeouts just before the 1-minute mark. If you're Hugh Jackson, you don't want to have to use any timeouts. You want to get plays by the chunks right here, and it starts with Kessler maybe even driving the ball down the field. They're going back to that wildcat look, even with Kessler on the field. Now they have to burn a timeout.
Cleveland takes its 2nd timeout. This is a 30-second timeout.
Interesting play call by Jackson. We have seen obviously Pryor take a bunch of snaps today, but Kessler has usually come off the field. That's the first time Kessler has stayed on. Interesting time of the game to go to that kind of play as they are forced to burn a timeout.
They're trying to get, I think, the right numbers in the box. If you get 6 in the box, you're going to tell Pryor, keep it and run it yourself. If they stack the box, then you're going to look for the best one-on-one opportunity. That is probably Gary Barnidge matched up against a linebacker. Or do you trust the rookie, Ricardo Lewis, who's been really good, if he's matched up with one of the cornerbacks one-on-one?
Cleveland Browns, a team that has lost 5 straight going back to last season, 12 of their last 13. But what a monumental win this would be if they could somehow pull this one out. 2nd and 7. Kessler completes to Barnidge, who's had a big day for the Browns. 5 yards, another marker comes in. Back in the Miami secondary, it was Hewitt on the tackle.
That's the matchup we were talking about. Barnidge against a linebacker. You take that one every time.
There is no foul in play for a defensive hold. The play will stand, brings up 3rd down.
All right, so the officials pick up the flag. Minute 14 remaining, 4th quarter. Cleveland has come back from 11 down earlier in the quarter, trying to pull off what would be a stunning road win here in week 3, considering the circumstances. Cody Kessler, their 23-year-old rookie quarterback, from the gun on 3rd and 2. Over the middle, incomplete. Off the hands of Pryor. Maxwell was right there.
Clutch play by Maxwell. And yes, you're going to have to punt it. But this is just really good coverage. He smothers Pryor, comes right over the top. But look at him. He rakes that right arm of Pryor off the ball. He's able to get that ball out. It was a critical play. I thought Pryor was going to haul it in. It hit the hands of Terrell Pryor, but he wasn't able to bring it into his body for a completion.
And Kessler was very accurate with that pass.
Yes, he was.
Just a terrific play by Maxwell. Colquitt on to punt. Landry back deep for Miami. This will take a short Dolphins bounce. And Tannehill will bring his offense onto the field. A couple of timeouts in their back pocket. 42 seconds left. And an offense that has had virtually no momentum over the last 7 or 8 minutes. Trying to come up with some late game magic.
But what has worked for the Miami Dolphins is to align Jarvis Landry in the slot. Run him on those crossing routes. The protection has held up. The Browns can generate a pass rush, and so if you're in the huddle and you've got to protect your quarterback, that's what they're saying right now. Remember, Urbic is in at center. He's their third center to play. And remember, no Mike Pouncey today. Anthony Steen's been knocked out of the game, so Urbic's got to be good on the snap out of the shotgun.
First and 10, Tannehill slinging it up the seam and finds Sims, the fourth-year tight end out of Michigan State. A pickup of 9. There is Andrew Franks, his career-long field goal, a 53-yarder against Houston in October of last season, as now the Dolphins will take their second timeout.
Still have one more. That means you can take a shot down the middle of the field. And I think you have to be able to do that based on what the coverage is going to give you. But I think you've got to be able to trust that this offensive line can protect against an anemic pass rush of the Cleveland Browns. And you take a shot down the field where you can clear out and make room for Jarvis Landry.
You need about 40 yards to get into the range of Franks. Long way to go here on 2nd and 1. Over the middle, underneath, this is Damian Williams, the third-year running back. Out close to the 36. And now finally Gase will burn a timeout. A couple of seconds came off at the end of that play. As Miami now out of timeouts, 26 seconds remaining.
What they were hoping to do is make you think they were going to take a shot, check down to the back, and he was just trying to get the first down right there. And had he gotten the first down, then they would have ran up to the ball and spiked it to stop the clock as opposed to burning their final timeout.
Well, obviously the middle of the field is not where they wanted to go with the football. But that's what Cleveland gave them defensively. As now Gase staring down that long play sheet, trying to come up with something here on 2nd and 1.
Yeah, they just were able to keep him 1 yard shy of picking up that first down. And now what you have to do is you're going to play to the sidelines. If you're going to throw the ball down the field, you got to be able to catch it and step out of bounds.
So no timeouts left for Miami. 26 seconds left. This is 2nd and 1. Tannehill under pressure. Football comes loose. Who's got it? Cleveland football. Unbelievable.
And guess who's going to run out their kicker? Won't be the Dolphins. Big time play. We said it. Turnovers were going to be critical for the Cleveland Browns defense. They needed to get turnovers to put their rookie quarterback on the short field. There is the pass rush. The strip of the ball looked like Corey Lemonier was able to get it out of the hands of Tannehill. Let's see who came up with it. I think Lemonier is at the bottom of the pile. He may be the ones to fall on it also.
Lemonier, the former 3rd-round pick of San Francisco back in 2013, with a defensive gem for Hugh Jackson in Cleveland. Now the Browns still have 1 timeout left here, as they will take a knee, run that clock down as far as they can bring it. And now the stage set for Cody Parkey, who hit from 38 yards out just a couple of minutes ago to tie this game. And what a moment for this kid Parkey. Again, if you've just joined us, their usual starting kicker Patrick Murray hurt in their walkthrough in Cleveland on Friday. They put him on IR, so they signed this kid Parkey, who was a Pro Bowl rookie kicker a couple of years ago for Philly. Joined the team on Friday night late, flew with them here yesterday, and fitting that their crazy week, Solomon, comes down to this and is all on his shoulders.
Everyone here is stunned. Hugh Jackson being able to put his team in a position to kick the game-winning field goal with 4 seconds remaining. Unbelievable.
It'll be officially a 46-yard attempt from Parkey. Good hold. The kick is no good. He missed it left.
Heartbreak on the sideline for the Cleveland Browns, who given their all. They've been fighting just to get to this position to set up Parkey for the game-winning field goal, and he misses his 3rd field goal attempt of the game. Wide left. New life for the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the cruelties of life in the NFL. Tough week for the Browns continues as we are headed to overtime here in Miami.
You know, in a battle of 0-2 teams, that we said there were 8 teams in the NFL that entered week 3 at 0-2. And we thought by far the Miami Dolphins were the best of those 0-2 teams. Well, they're playing it close here today.
Coin toss at midfield. Clete Blakeman waiting for the captains to come over from the Browns.
Okay, gentlemen, overtime in a regular season, we will play up to 1 15-minute period. Each team's going to have an opportunity to possess the ball unless the first team on offense scores a touchdown or there's a defensive score. You're both going to have 2 timeouts, and all read plays will be handled upstairs. You good? You good? Okay. Same coin. The eagle side is heads. The Pentagon side is tails. The eagle side is heads. Pentagon side is tails. Cleveland, it's, again, your choice. Tails. Tails is the call. Tails is the call. It is tails. You win the toss. You're going to kick off. Where do you want to receive? That way, just like this. Cleveland elects to kick. Miami will receive. Good luck, gentlemen.
So an interesting decision. Cleveland elects to kick to begin the overtime. The miss from Parkey. And we are headed to overtime in Miami on CBS. What a wild afternoon here in Miami as we are headed to overtime. Miami up 11 early in the 4th before Cleveland came back. Cody Parkey tied the game with a late kick. Had a chance to win it right at the end of regulation, but misses from 38 yards out. Solomon, surprised that Hugh Jackson deferred after they won the toss. As we see Grant able to cross his way past the 20. But an interesting decision by Cleveland's head coach.
Well, yeah, I think what he understands, he's playing with his 3rd string quarterback. He's got some players on offense like Terrell Pryor who is exhausted. And so put the defense on the field, allow the offense to get some rest. Hopefully they get a 3 and out and you get great field position.
1 15-minute quarter. Each team will have possession unless the opening offensive team goes for a touchdown. All booth reviews are initiated upstairs by the replay people here. So here is Tannehill after a very disappointing finish for their offense in that 4th quarter. This is Deion Sims breaking a tackle. Stumbles close to the 40. Poyer pushed him out of bounds. 18 yards and a big first down.
Adam Gase talked about the talents of Deion Sims. He's 6'4", 270. What a big guy who moves very well. This is what we call a drive starter. You get the offense into rhythm, into tempo by executing the very first play of the drive.
Dolphins with a couple of very tough games to open their season. Losses in Seattle and at New England last week. Looking for a successful home opener here. That's Isaiah Pead. Dolphins have not had an overtime victory since October 31st of 2013. Such a big early season game. The new Adam Gase era here in South Florida.
Yeah, now they've got to get Ryan Tannehill going. If he can get going, and this is where he's got to show improvement under his new head coach, Adam Gase, lead his team on a game-winning drive, manufacture yards, and make plays in the passing game.
Second and 6. Here comes Cleveland. Tannehill, back shoulder throw. Landry was the intended receiver. It was Stephen Paya, a 6th-year man out of Oregon State, giving chase.
This was one of the few times we've seen pressure on Tannehill. You could see, look at him pouring in on him. So Ray Horton making sure that they get the pressure on Tannehill. That was that crossing route that we talked about earlier. They were hoping to get the protection to hold up because Jarvis Landry was coming open across the field from the left side.
So Miami elects to go here on a critical 3rd and 6. Tannehill under pressure, hit on the release, and it's incomplete. Never saw the blitzer coming, and he took a shot right at the end of the play by Kirksey.
Look, they're blitzing. They try to pick it up. Damian Williams was the running back stepping in the path of Christian Kirksey, but couldn't keep him off Tannehill. We said the Browns couldn't rush the quarterback. They must have heard us. They started blitzing Tannehill, and now they're starting to get hits on him. He had no time to throw on those last 2 pass plays.
So Hugh Jackson's decision to put his defense on the field first, at least for the moment, appears to have paid off. Matt Dorr again on the punt, and this is a beauty for Miami. Beautifully placed punt inside the 10. 46 yards on the punt from Dorr. As we send you to New York, get an update with JB and Tony.
Washington trying for its first win of the season.
Yes, they are. And this is a 37-yard field goal attempt by Dustin Hopkins. He nails it right down the middle. That's the 5th lead change in the second half. 1:51 left in regulation.
Now down to 124, and New York has the ball. Back to Spiro Dudas.
All right, JB, so here's Cody Kessler, the 23-year-old rookie quarterback. Has put his team in a position to win. What does he do here in his first overtime experience in the NFL?
I think they let him throw it deep if you get the matchup you want on the outside.
And keep it on the ground. This is Isaiah Crowell, who's had some big runs in this game. Up over the 70-yard mark rushing. A good pickup of 8 to set up a favorable 2nd and short.
I think it's smart to stay with the run game and Isaiah Crowell, but sooner or later, you know, even Hugh Jackson, who's very aggressive, he knows you can only dink and dunk your way down the field for so long. Given where they got the ball at their own 9-yard line, sooner or later, if you get the matchup you like outside, allow Kessler to take a shot down the field and see if you can create a big play.
Well, we know what a gunslinger Hugh Jackson has been as a play caller. What does he dial up here on 2nd and 2? Kessler's pass incomplete. Good coverage down the field by the Dolphins. 3rd and 2. What do you do here?
3rd and 2. I think you give them the look. Try to spread out the defense and see if they adjust. And if you get the favorable numbers, typically if you get 6 in the box and you have more blockers than they have defenders, go ahead and give the ball to Isaiah Crowell. He's been very powerful, plunging it in up the middle. See if he can break one. And right now he's not in the game. You have Duke Johnson in there, so it looks like a pass play.
Pryor lined up bottom of your screen. This is 3rd and 2. Kessler, he loses the initial tackler. That pass is caught. Pryor off the deflection. 8 yards and a Cleveland first down.
What about Cody Kessler? I mean, this play had broken down. He threw it behind the intended receiver. Great catch by Terrell Pryor in traffic to haul it in.
8th catch for Pryor, 143 yards on the afternoon. We're in overtime in Miami, all tied at 24. Kessler sacked. Flag comes in at the end of the play. It was Wake and Sue who met at the quarterback. 4th sack by Miami today.
There is no foul for an ineligible man downfield in the pass because there was no pass thrown. The play counts as called. Second down.
Yep, they said it must have been some kind of illegal formation at the bottom of the screen. And because Barnidge went out on a pass, and it would have been illegal had they thrown the football.
2nd and 17 after the sack. Kessler. A little crossing route. Another marker thrown in. It's Gary Barnidge brought down at the 25. And this could be a hold against Cleveland.
Holding. Offense, number 67. He's half the distance to the goal line. Replay second down.
That is the 5th penalty today against Austin Pastor.
There he is working against Cam Wake. Oh yeah, that's he tackled him. Because Wake would have had a hit on Cody Kessler. Tough day for Pastor, right?
Not much you can do here. If you're Hugh Jackson, 2nd down. They need the 37 to move the chains.
Make sure you protect the football. Turnovers would kill you here. So while you're attempting to make a play, make sure you're protecting it.
Kessler goes underneath again. Nothing doing from Duke Johnson. Hewitt on the tackle for Miami.
They try to go screen over to Duke Johnson, trying to dump it off. See the blockers out in front of him? And look at that. Hewitt sniffed it out. Now right here, I think you just try to play conservative. You got time. What you can't do is try to turn it over. 3rd and 28, that's forever. You want to try to get yourself some room to punt the football. And if you can break a tackle, then maybe you can hit that first down marker.
3rd and 28. They keep it on the ground. This is Johnson. Just trying to get some positive yardage. A pickup of 4. And Britton Colquitt will come on to punt. And this is where the field position now is so critical, back and forth. If you've just joined us, Cleveland was down 24-13 in the 4th. They stormed back. Cody Parkey was set up for a potential game-winning field goal right at the end of regulation. Missed it. And now both teams have possessed it here in overtime.
If you're Colquitt, do not punt this down the middle of the field to Jarvis Landry. You got to pin him on the sideline. Don't give him a chance to return this punt.
Wise words. We'll see if Colquitt heeds your advice.
That's just not good.
Landry's going to play it inside Cleveland territory. So dangerous in the open field. 44 yards on the punt, 13 on the return from Landry as we go back to New York. And JB and Tony.
Giants hurt themselves here.
Yes, they do. Driving for the potential win. Eli Manning drops back. Those are the interceptions by Suak, Cravens. The Washington Redskins will go on to win this game 29-27. Washington gets their first win of the year.
And New York drops to 2-1. Back to Spiro Dedes and Solomon Wilcots.
All right, JB, that highly anticipated matchup between Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman, as the Redskins get a monstrous road win in the NFC East. Here in Miami, excellent position to start. Ryan Tannehill. Next points will win the game here. All tied at 24, 9:30 to play in the extra period. Danny Shelton on the tackle of Jay Ajayi.
Poor punt by Britton Colquitt. Really set up Jarvis Landry to return that punt, get it across the 50, and put the Dolphins in great field position. He understood it. You needed to pin this one deep down the sideline. What does he do? It was a short punt, and it was right down the middle. Made it easy for Tannehill and this offense. Now they can be patient, using both the run game, short pass game, to put themselves in field goal position.
And we told you earlier, Andrew Frank's career-long field goal, 53 yards. Tannehill, boy, just able to get that away, and Landry is wide open. And now Cleveland in serious trouble. 32 yards on the pass play from Tannehill.
Oh, he did the coverage. Number 21, Jamar Taylor, had his eyes looking on the inside on the play action, and then Jarvis Landry is able to get wide open. Jamar Taylor bit on the coverage and allows Landry to get so wide open. Field position, wow.
And how about the pocket awareness of Tannehill to get rid of the football when he did? Another half second, and that could have been disastrous for Miami. 1st and 10, just outside the 10. This is Ajayi into the end zone, and Miami wins it.
We said they were doing a great job in pass protection. They seal the edge, creates an easy run for Jay Ajayi to take this one in for the game winner. A walk-off touchdown run. To me, it starts with the block by the tight end right here to seal the edge. And that's where you're going to be able to get Jay Ajayi around the corner for an easy touchdown. Look at that. Great block by Deion Sims, the tight end. And then Jay Ajayi does the rest.
What a moment for Ajayi. Expected to be the starter. Adam Gase went with Arian Foster. Didn't like the response from Ajayi, so he kept him home week 1. Didn't even make the trip to Seattle. Last week, had that costly fumble. And one of the biggest moments of his Miami Dolphins career. Heartbreak meantime for Cleveland as Miami wins it in overtime, 30-24. Coming up next, Steelers and the Eagles, or the Jets and the Chiefs. For Solomon, Spiro Dedes saying so long from Miami.